Ciao ciao दोस्तों, कैसे हो आप लोग? Welcome to the Calciomercato wrap-up stream of the January transfer window. With me, I have Mr. Napoli himself, Yogesh, and we'll be also joined by Param, Chintan, and even DJ for a bit. So, Yogesh, क्या हाल चाल यार? तू तो गायब हो गया after the whole Roma Napoli game.
नहीं यार, आई एम गुड। गायब नहीं हुआ यार, थोड़ा सा काम आ गया था बस। या गोइंग गुड। ट्रांसफर मार्केट काफी अनएक्सपेक्टेड था। लाइक अगर जनवरी के बिगनिंग में समवन हैड टोल्ड मी कि ये साइनिंग्स होंगी, नॉट जस्ट इन नापोली, अक्रॉस ऑल क्लब्स, तो आई वुड हैव नॉट बिलीव दैट। बट वेरी अनएक्सपेक्टेड ट्रांसफर मार्केट हो चुका है हमारे साथ।
हम्म
एंड
हम्म
लेट्स सी हाउ द रिजल्ट कम्स अलोंग
तू
इन द
तू
गेम्स फर्दर।
अचानक से काम आ गया मतलब इट वाज वैसे भी एंड ऑफ द ट्रांसफर मार्केट. आई नो दैट यू वर बिजी टू trying to get the likes of Garnacho and then Alan
या
Saint Maximan and eventually ended up with Okafor from Milan. But
या
before we get into all that transfer activity, your 2 cents on the Roma Napoli game because you became मतलब तू गायब ही हो गया था, so we really couldn't get your prediction, your thoughts, and हम लोग obviously करेंगे in
नहीं यार,
detail, but
गेम के पहले मेरा प्रेडिक्शन तो था कि वी विल नॉट कीप अ क्लीन शीट, बट माइट विन इट विदाउट कीपिंग अ क्लीन शीट। तो विन तो नहीं कर सके। एंड Juan Jesus एंड Spinazzola, विद ऑल ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट, उनके साथ में क्लीन शीट रखना इज क्वाइट डिफिकल्ट फॉर एनी कोच इन द वर्ल्ड। तो वी कंसीडर वेरी लेट। गुड गेम था। It was a good game. Roma did not trouble much, but in the end, Angelino scored a very nice goal. Yeah, so all credit to Roma. And Roma has become a tough place again to go and take points off from Stadio Olimpico. It has gotten tough again. So I hope the other teams who could travel to Olimpico might also end up dropping points. So yeah, it was a
ये
good
तेरे
game
मुंह
in
में
that
घी
sense.
शक्कर, तेरे मुंह में घी शक्कर, ये यही होना चाहिए. Let's see who's all in the chat. We
Yeah.
have Rahul, who's a Milan fan, obviously, and we'll be speaking about Milan, who are very, very active in this transfer market. Shubdeep is
Yeah.
here. Ravi is in the house. Vikes is in the house. Nikhil is in the house. मिलान के जो लाइन जब भी लाइन पर है यार, मिलान के बारे में हम डिटेल में बात करेंगे क्योंकि मिलान के जो ट्रांसफर्स है उसमें काफी सारे ओपिनियंस है, द लाइक्स ऑफ जाओ फिलिक्स एंड ऑफ कोर्स
Hmm.
सैंटी कमिंग इन, तो वो डिटेल में हम लोग बात करेंगे वंस चिंतन इज आल्सो इन द हाउस. Guri baat, thanks for watching Roma games, and but I think you are an Atlanta fan, so yeah, Angelino is quite underrated. Yeah, you can't deny that for sure. Yeah, this is a comment for you, a question for you, Yogesh.
Hmm.
Garnacho के लिए जो sum ADL ने rather United ने मांगा था, which ADL obviously refused. What do you make of that? 75-80 million was it?
Yeah, it was like अगर आ जाता था then it would have been a very huge price tag on a player to perform. वैसा हो जाता था। So I hope in the end it works out, and like we ended up getting Okafor, so not really thrilled with that signing. But Garnacho के links वगैरह थे। I personally मैंने Garnacho को पहले कभी देखा नहीं था। After the link started, then I came to know कि so and so player है वगैरह है। तो it looked good, like it looked like a good deal। Kvaratskhelia को अच्छे से replace कर सकता था, but for reasons which everyone knows कि इतना high escalate कर दिया था मैन्यू ने उसका price।
Yeah, yeah.
तो yeah, Napoli does not buy like spends that much money on a single player. That's the reality.
And it's way too much. Like I agree with Ravi, man. It's way too much. यार ये 75 million you spend on someone, with all due respect, to who's a very complete player. Garnacho does have potential.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he doesn't have potential, but he's far from the finished product. So I know कि market economics
Yeah,
England
yeah.
में थोड़ा अलग चलता है, इटली में अलग चलता है. But yes, we will. हम लोग we are going to go and speak about each and every club का ins and outs in this January. That is what we will be doing in this particular stream. So हम लोग एक डिटेल में हम लोग करेंगे, तो guys stick around because we have Param who's joining in the next couple of minutes and then Chintan is coming in later. तो हम लोग मिलान क्लब्स का मरकातो के बारे में बात करेंगे, रोमा, यूवे, नापोली, अटलांटा as well, who are quite active. But योगेश, this transfer window typically, अगर आप देखोगे, Serie A में January transfer window isn't always active, but this year,
Yeah.
especially towards the end, it just completely kind of like क्या बोले, एक मतलब एक लिट हो गया वो पूरा, और इतने
Yes.
सारे ट्रांसफर्स दिखे अपने को, बोथ इनकमिंग एंड आउटगोइंग. Why is there? Why do you think is this sudden shift in Serie A economics?
I think January repair market बोलते हैं January को, and especially a lot of clubs are finding themselves in positions which they did not think they would be in. Like for example, मैं Juventus and AC Milan specifically की बात करूँ, uh, they were, with all due respect, they Juventus तो at least season के start में लग रहा था would be in the Scudetto conversation, but that has not turned out to be the case. And being off the Champions League for next year is also a big worry for these clubs. So that's why they do not want to miss out on Champions League and miss out on all the goodies that comes with it. That's why itna zyada activity hua, so that they fix their squad in this market, like get whoever can perform in the short term, get to Champions League, get to a good position in this summer, and then build upon that. तो इसलिए like ये reason में like मुझे तो यही लगता है कि because the table has been so weird this time,
Yeah,
and positions have become so like कितना competitive भी हुआ है सेरिया का table this season. That's the prime reason for so much activity here.
fair, fair. Joining us is Param. Param is in the house.
What's up?
क्या
What's
हाल
up?
चाल परम?
All good, yeah, all good. Busy day. Might be juggling between a few calls during this stream, तो तभी शायद might go off screen, but all good. Otherwise, सब तो है. Calcio, I mean, the transfer window finally slammed shut. और I mean, बहुत drama था in comparison to some recent times. I think all of us can agree. I think I'm
Yeah,
not
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
Yogesh will be happy with the Kvaratskhelia replacement necessarily. कहाँ से कहाँ मतलब I know it's I know I saw some Napoli fans saying हाँ ठीक है समर में इन्वेस्ट करोगे बट द थिंग इज यू आर डूइंग अ स्कूडेटो चार्ज राइट नाउ
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
needed a replacement. I feel some sort of an upgrade. I feel this is a big downgrade with all due respect. I feel उस पे तो आएंगे बाद में. Okafor is a good talent but he just can't stay fit and that is the problem, you know. So I don't know how happy Yogesh will be, and obviously Ajay bhai, our clubs obviously you all gave us Zalewski who had instant impact. So
इन्हें
देखते
मिलान
हैं
भी है.
what करेंगे, but nice to be here. I guess you all took comments कि लेना बाकी है अभी भी.
Yes, yes, yes. We took comments, but we'll get into the Calcio Mercato right away. I have a screen which is of all the transfers that happened.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you can see, is it visible?
हाँ हाँ डेफिनेटली आपको जूम इन कर. ये इससे अच्छा आप क्लब वाइज फिल्टर कर दो ना.
Okay.
यू वांट मी टू ओपन इट बिकॉज यू कैन डू
हाँ,
सेरिया ट्रांसफर्स एंड कीप इट क्लब वाइज मतलब
हाँ.
सेरिया ट्रांसफर्स 24
लिंक
25
लिंक भेज मेरे को, या
नहीं
तू
डाल.
ओपन करके उसको
हाँ
उसको शेयर कर. बट
भी ऐसा आप तब तक कमेंट्स में बाकी के.
नहीं, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. I actually want to also start with Inter had such a quiet January window, right? I
या
mean,
या आई मीन
wo-
देखो यार सिंपली आप बोल सकते हो कि वन कैन ऑलवेज रिप्लेस अर्नॉटोविच कोरिया बट देयर विल बी नो ऑफर फॉर दीस प्लेयर्स. इट्स वेरी ऑब्वियस. ठीक है. आई नो टुवर्ड्स द लास्ट डेज Fiorentina was looking at Arnautovic. This is actually true, but they never came forward with a concrete bid ऐसा कुछ because they do not have like a in terms of numerical right numericals मैं बोल रहा हूँ not adjusting players like number by number they do not have a backup for Moise Keane. Sure, आप बोलोगे गुडमंसन उधर खेल सकता है but that is if like he was to swap tactics and all that, right? So
yeah,
number to number they do not have a backup for Moise Keane and they were looking at Arnautovic. This is the truth, but again they never came forward with a bid तो वो हुआ नहीं कभी. And again so as long as nobody left Inter, nobody was going to come in. वैसा simple policy because our squad is already packed numerically, qualitatively वो सब बोलो. Now we had two outgoings obviously. Thomas Palacios जो यंगस्टर समर में साइन किया था because he was not getting as many minutes, उसको ड्राई लोन पे मोन्जा भेजा है और उसके एक्सचेंज में भी we struck a good deal wherein Galliani agreed to let us use their stadium for our under 23 team. So we got a stadium in exchange for a player. I think that's quite good. ये यूजुअली होता नहीं है कैल्शियो में. आई मीन ये सिर्फ कैल्शियो में हो सकता है कि आपको स्टेडियम मिल जाए एक प्लेयर के बदले
एक
में पूरा.
प्लेयर के बदले.
और दूसरा था ऑब्वियसली टेजॉन ब्यूकैनन, जो मैं बार बार बोल रहा था यार, दैट शिन इंजरी ruined it for him in
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
connect when he was in the Copa America. वो नहीं होता तो शायद we would be talking about a different story. We wouldn't be looking at Zalewski at Inter, और Zalewski
Yeah.
obviously dry loan नहीं, obviously loan with an option to buy आया है, and obviously
Instant
debut
impact for him. Instant impact
instant,
for him.
obviously. Or again, if somebody has forgotten the rules, under 22 players do not have to be registered per se. So obviously he could feature directly. And देखते हैं उसका intent, the what the positivity has been there around from his side and even from Simone Inzaghi. मतलब Simone Inzaghi is not the type की जो ना एकदम योगेश नए प्लेयर को सीधा खिला दे, even off the bench. अभी अगर ये कोई फॉरेन लीग का प्लेयर होता ना, मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ, वो खेलता ही नहीं डार्बी में, समझा तुझे? Zalewski being a Serie A player, whatever, even if he stagnated, whatnot, वो खेला सीधा and obviously had an impact. So those are our signings, and वही था कि I expected this. I तो honestly didn't even expect Buchanan to leave and a signing to come. वो भी हो गया. So देखते. I know there is an option to buy to for 6.5 million. देखते if we trigger it. And yeah, समर में हाँ सॉरी, हाउ डिड आई फॉरगेट, पेटर सूचिच हमने साइन कर लिया समर के लिए. ऑब्वियसली द अ वेरी हाईली रेटेड टैलेंट, फॉर दोज हु डोंट नो, इफ आई वांट टू पुल अप एन इमेज, क्योंकि ही इज कंसिडर्ड एज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट अंडर 23 टैलेंट्स, top three under 23 talents coming out of Croatia right now. If you've heard the name of Martin Baturina, the striker as well, these two are very highly rated. और इसके लिए कंपटीशन बहुत था अजय भाई, बट वी रैप्ड अप द डील फॉर 14 मिलियन प्लस 2 मिलियन इन बोनसेस और सम परसेंटेज सेल ऑन क्लॉज पे. सो वेरी गुड डील, बिकॉज ये मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ ना, अभी ओक्ट्री को बहुत क्रिटिसिज्म मिल रहा है राइट करंटली, बिकॉज they've not done much. But again, for me, the real test for them will be this coming summer. Because वो लोग जब last summer आए थे, it was already towards the end of the market when they officially became the owners. January market is not the best way to judge any club in general, I feel.
Yeah.
और अभी summer पे आते तब देखते हैं, because I know the news is कि they want to reduce the average age. अब वो कितना करते हैं? How much do they sacrifice on the veterans? I've also seen news from tier 1 inter sources कि they are not going to medal too much. So let's see, because Americans का वो reputation है, right योगेश? अगर तू AC मिलान के बारे में देखेगा एंड ये सब के बारे में देखेगा, तो अमेरिकन की एक रेप्यूटेशन बन गई कि वो लोग ज्यादा यंगर साइनिंग्स करते हैं, ये वो राइट. सो देखते हैं, इट रिमेन्स टू बी सीन वेयर वी गो. सो या अभी के लिए तो ऐसा कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. आई नो देयर इज अ फुल फोकस ऑन बिल्डिंग एन अंडर 23 टीम फॉर द कमिंग सीजन. सो अभी के लिए वेरी एक्साइटेड कि पेटर सूचिच साइन किया, मतलब big statement, because I know other clubs wanted him and he's desperate. He was eager for the move, तो already Instagram पे उसने खुद ही confirm कर दिया he signed for Inter. So so yeah, I'm fine, मतलब as long as we can continue the Scudetto push, no complaints. Yeah, but yeah.
Fair.
So
Guys, आप लोग chat में आपके सवाल, आपके comments सारे लिख लो. We will be taking it as we move along. And since we have Yogesh in the house, let's speak about
I'll just be
the
back in a
Calcio
minute.
Mercato. Fair. Let's speak about the Calcio Mercato of Napoli. Of course, the most significant headline here was Kvicha Kvaratskhelia leaving Napoli and going to PSG. तो यार योगेश, थोड़ा अंदर का खबर बता. What is the mood in Napoli right now? And of course, internet I was reading that, like Param mentioned, that the Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia money will be invested in the future in the summer. But आज के टाइम में जब आप लोग एक स्कुडेटो चैलेंज में हैं, do you think Conte is happy with the signings that he's got?
No, I don't think so. He would be happy because I am also not very happy, not very thrilled with the business that we have done in the January transfer market. Okafor, Kobe, with all due respect, like I have not seen any clips or anything about him. Like it all now comes down to Conte, कि how Conte can elevate a single player's performance. Like जैसे for example, Spinazzola में इतना बड़ा transition दिखा, like at the start of the season and up till mid-season now. Conte has really elevated his game. Similarly for Juan Ijas, he's probably playing his best football of his career. So I am just wishing that Conte can infuse that secret juice in these players that we signed, like Philip Billing as Cuffet ko signed kiya as a backup
Right,
goalkeeper, then
right.
Luis Hassa ko signed kiya, and now Okafor. I'm just hoping that Conte's secret juice helps them to perform to a better level, and we cross this 6 months before the summer transfer market in a good situation. So that's what is my expectation. Yeah, these are not long term signings; these are very short term fixes which मार्केट सिचुएशंस ने हमें प्रोवाइड की, एंड एज आई सेड इट्स ऑल डाउन टू कॉन्टे नाउ.
तू ये सीक्रेट जूस वगैरह बोल रही है, इसका इसका रेसिपी भी बता दे, क्या है क्या ये? What is this? What is this secret juice that you're talking about? But let's talk about some of the signings that you know, you guys made. Philip Billing,
हाँ,
how
लेट
do
मी
you
पुल
rate
इट अप.
him, man?
सॉरी, एक तो मैं मैं पुल अप कर रहा था. मैं सॉरी, आई गॉट
हाँ,
लॉस्ट इन द कन्वर्सेशन, जगलिंग बिटवीन कॉल्स एज वेल, सो डोंट माइंड. बट कमेंट्स पे आते भाई लोग, डोंट वरी. अगेन, एज अजय भाई कीप सेइंग, लाइक, शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब, वी विल टेक योर कमेंट्स. वी स्टार्टेड विद इंटर, राइट? सो एक मिनट, दिस
हाँ,
इंक्लूड्स
पहले
द
इंटर का, and
समर
then we'll move
मार्केट
to
एज वेल.
Napoli.
Yeah, just quickly, just showing it.
Zoom कर
Winter
ले थोड़ा.
markets, yeah, winter market sirf. Should I include? I'll include all transfers. Obviously, उसमें से देख के आपको
हाँ,
पता ही चल जाएगा क्या actually हुआ है, क्या नहीं हुआ है. So this is better like this. So obviously, the only actual outgoing is Nikola Zalewski. Sorry, incoming for Inter is Nikola Zalewski. ये तो under 20 players है, ठीक है? तो ये आपको इतना देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. Outgoing जैसे योगेश एंड अजय भाई, टेजॉन ब्यूकैनन, राडू फाइनली लेफ्ट. सॉरी, मतलब भाई, मतलब थैंक द लॉर्ड, मतलब फाइनली ये बंदा गया, एंड ही वाज साइंड बाय वेनेजिया. अजय भाई, नन अदर वेनेजिया, बिकॉज जो इंटर का गोलकीपर था वेनेजिया के पास, फिलिप स्टैंकोविच. एक्चुअली इफ यू सॉ देयर गेम ऑन द वीकेंड, वो गोल किक लेने गया ना, ही हिज लेग गॉट स्टक. अटक जाता है ना कभी कभी पैर. सो ही गॉट अ बैड इंजरी, सो ही इज आउट इंजर्ड. पलासियोस टू मोन्जा, एज वी नो, एंड दैट्स इट प्रीटी मच फॉर अस. नापोली के बारे में बात करें योगेश, यार ये कैसे अरेंज किया लोग ने? इज दिस अल्फाबेटिक? हाँ, सॉरी,
क्या
नापोली
आया
इधर
ना?
है. हाँ,
SSC Napoli.
Napoli, जैसे हम देख सकते हैं, Okafor is in, and I'm sure Yogesh is not the happiest. Luis Hasa,
He's not
Scuffe,
happy.
बैकअप कीपर, कपरीले के साथ स्वैप किया. फिलिप बिलिंग आई फील इज अ डिसेंट साइनिंग फॉर डेप्थ. अजय भाई, वो मैं ठीक तो भी लगता है. ये तो अगेन, these are these are not actual, मतलब these are for the youth team and all. But outgoings देखो, योगेश एंड अजय भाई, and you all give your thoughts. Kvaratskhelia, Foloruncho, Fiorentina गया, obviously Zerbin, Venezia गया, and he's already doing quite well. I never understood this, Ajay and Yogesh. मतलब Caprile is a young and budding keeper. I know he needs to play, but I still feel he could have played a bit more. He's a quite decent keeper also.
Yeah,
Rui
yeah, of
final,
course.
Rui भी obviously, Rui
अरे
तो तभी.
मार्टिनो भी गया. क्या बात कर रहे हैं?
बट ये अगर योगेश, अजय भाई, आपके भी ओपिनियंस दो कमेंट्स में भी. आप लोग बताओ क्या लगता है नापोली के मार्केट में. आई वांट पीपल टू रेट दीज मार्केट्स बेस्ड ऑन प्रॉपर कॉन्टेक्स्ट, मतलब ब्लाइंड रेटिंग नहीं. अभी आप जानते हो, फॉर एग्जांपल, इंटर डिड नॉट हैव एनी रूम टू डू बिजनेस बिकॉज द स्क्वाड इज कंप्लीट. सो जस्ट बिकॉज Zalewski केम इन, अजय भाई, आई डोंट वांट यू टू से 1 on 10 बिकॉज एक ही प्लेयर है. यू गेट द पॉइंट,
हाँ,
लाइक
हाँ.
कॉन्टेक्स्ट के साथ दो रेटिंग. अभी आपको अगर सच्ची में लगता है ओकाफोर इज अ बिग डाउनग्रेड टू क्वारेट्स के लिए, सो इट्स अंडरस्टैंडेबल, राइट? सो उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आई वांट यू गाइस टू गिव रेटिंग इन द कमेंट्स, एंड आप लोग भी दोगे, ठीक है? गिव योर थॉट्स गाइस.
Starting with Mr. Napoli himself, Yogesh. What do you make of Philip
Uh,
Billing, for all the incomings that have
yeah.
you know, arrived?
Overall, my rating do out of 10 for Napoli's January transfer market. I would give it a solid 5.5.
सॉलिड
सॉलिड
5.
कैसा है भाई? नहीं, सॉलिड. सॉलिड इसलिए बोला क्योंकि योगेश अपने अपना खुद के काम को क्रिटिसाइज कर रहे हैं इसलिए.
हाँ, खुद के काम को
Like,
क्रिटिसाइज नहीं करना है ना. पर नहीं यार, वो
yeah,
योगेश थॉट्स तो थे ओवरऑल, मतलब कुछ और तो बोल,
yeah.
मतलब
Overall,
रेटिंग.
like I'm not thrilled here. Like I'm not thrilled. Like ये short term fixes लेके आया. I don't see any of these players long term at Napoli except Luis Hassa maybe. Uh, very sorry to say that about a Napoli player. I'm not usually criticizing our own club's player, but I don't see a great future for these players at the club. And it all, like, मैं वापस से वही same repeat करूँगा. Conte के ऊपर आता है, like he has to do with the squad that is available at his disposal now.
I agree. I agree. That is fair, but look, my comments पे अजय भाई आता हूँ. Before I get your thoughts, just 1 second, I'll get back to this because I'm seeing a lot of interesting comments already. Again, I want you guys to comment on the market. मतलब बाकी के comments तो लाओ, because tonight's stream थोड़ा rush में भी करेंगे हम लोग. नहीं, इट इज इम्पॉसिबल, बट टू बी फेयर, वो लोग प्रोग्रेस कर रहे थे. ऐसा नहीं था कि लोग प्रोग्रेस नहीं कर रहे थे जरा भी, राइट अजय
Yeah.
भाई? दे वर मेकिंग सम प्रोग्रेस. इज दैट इट वाज अ टू मच ऑफ अ रीच टू गो टू मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड एंड आस्क फॉर गर्नाचो. वी ऑल नो दिस. या रोमा के साइनिंग्स पे आएंगे, बिकॉज आई रियली लाइक व्हाट दे डिड टुवर्ड्स द एंड. मतलब रोमा अंडर द रेडार एक्टिव गया डेडलाइन डे पे, आई फेल्ट.
हम्म.
या आई फील 75 मिलियन ज्यादा हो जाता. Of course he's not been if खेलता ही का है यार मतलब निखिल you're a Milan fan you should know मतलब obviously you know वो भाई मतलब इंजरी से ही भरा रहता है या सोटिल के बारे में डिस्कस करेंगे डोंट वरी ही इज आल्सो
करेंगे,
द
मैंने
सन ऑफ
इंतजार करके रखा हुआ है मैंने.
yeah he's the son of Andrea Sottil obviously
Yeah.
जो कोच है join sorry he make you पढ़ रहा sorry join the group if you want um, fair enough again we'll come to AC Milan don't worry हाँ फिफ्थ प्लेस अगर ऐसा चलता रहा तो मिलेगा then let's see who makes it sorry you took this comment again I remember saying Garnacho would be an ultra downgrade replacement of Kara but Napoli so yeah that's true अभी तो मतलब वही लगता है ना कि we went from Garnacho to Adeyemi to Alan Saint Maximin to Noah Lang इतना बात नहीं हुआ because his bid was instantly rejected if you know Yogesh and then we came to Noah Okafor so I'm sure Conte is pissed off I'm real
Yeah,
and obviously मिलान फैंस जानेंगे तो ही इज नॉट इवन इन शेप राइट नाउ अजय भाई ओकाफोर ही इज
Yeah,
नॉट इन द
yeah.
बेस्ट उसको मतलब
Yeah,
अभी
I
तुम्हें
mean,
कंडीशन में एग्जैक्ट बोलो
not to say anything, but Conte is going to make him work out in the gym like crazy.
अभी वही तो चीज है ना वर्कआउट करते करते अगर ये इंजर हो गया एंड वी आर नॉट जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट सिंपल वर्कआउट जस्ट टू गेट हिम इन शेप योगेश इफ दिस गाय गेट्स इंजर्ड इन द प्रोसेस इट्स अ वेरी रिस्की थिंग आई नेवर अंडरस्टूड व्हाट यू गाइस वर डूइंग विद दिस यार हुआन इसूस व्हेन ही
Only,
पिंग दैट बॉल मेरे
only against Roma, former
नो
ex-Roma
आई एम
players.
सॉरी अजय बट शेम ऑन स्वीलर क्या क्या था
Yeah,
वो
it was a error, Swiller error,
काय
and
को बाहर है
that's
पीछे रहे ना आराम से
easy. But I'll give that a pass considering the amount of times he saved us from, absolute
Yeah.
embarrassment. I'll give him a
Yeah.
pass on that one. But this is poetic. मतलब सिर्फ एक लुकाकू पेनल्टी बाकी था. Otherwise,
हाँ,
Spinazzola bowling, Juan Jesus
yeah.
bowling,
At least
Politano falling,
at
Politano
least
falling.
yeah. योगेश पोलिटानो को ना पकड़ के मारना चाहिए तू भी अग्री करेगा ही exaggerates a lot. I've seen it even at inter days. Come on. वो ऐसे गिरता है ना जैसे कि मतलब उसको
Yeah, yeah.
मतलब उसको ना वो क्या बोलते हैं वो मूवीज में कैसे सपोर्ट लगा के उठाते ऐसे पोजीशन में ऐसे गिर जाता है वो मतलब यू आल्सो हैव टू एग्री बट लीव दैट असाइड वी आर बैक टू कैल्शियम मर्कातो नहीं लुक एक तो देख यार आकाश वी प्ले एवरी 3 days ओके आसान नहीं होता खेलना एंड ऑल्सो दिस इज एन इम्प्रूव मिलान साइड मैं जो कॉन्सेसाओ के बारे में बोलता हूँ फाइटिंग स्पिरिट ये वो एक वो चीज है दूसरी चीज है यस दे डिड अ गुड जॉब बट हाउ मेनी चांसेस डिड वी मिस डिड यू गाइस वॉच द गेम 3 ऑफसाइड
Of
गोल
course.
3 बार पोस्ट को लगा योगेश
Post
आई डोंट नो
में.
इफ यू सॉ इट so
yeah.
technically it's not like we didn't create we did but it was just not going in and again I was having this discussion with Chintan bhai yaar Pavlovic ka to Ajay bhai you saw there was a foul on Thuram वो एक penalty deny कर दिया हमको and even so the overall refereeing standards वो अलग चीज है चलो let's keep that aside but yes initially in the first half we did look a bit out of ideas but second half we woke up big time यार आकाश मतलब वो कितना पोस्ट पे लगा but again Milan have turned up मैं अगर even as a ऑब्जेक्टिव साइड से बोलूं दे आर इंप्रूविंग एंड दी साइनिंग्स वील सी वेयर इट गोज क्या हो गया यार ये किधर आ गया लाइक वन एसुस को ट्रिब्यूट दे रहे या सूची इज अ वेरी गुड टैलेंट मैं बहुत एक्साइटेड हूं उसके लिए इज करंटली आउट विद अ फुट इंजरी बट आई एम वेरी एक्साइटेड Napoli would slip up sure with business they did and the terrorism ball they are playing. Only positive is Inter have a UCL. देख Regan, there is nothing wrong with any approach. I will say I understand what you mean कि थोड़ा अल्ट्रा डिफेंसिव हो जाते हैं योगेश मतलब तू बोल सकता है कि रोमा के अगेंस्ट थोड़ा मे बी अगर और रिस्क लिया होता तो यू कुड हैव वन probably right but ऐसा नहीं कि रोमा आसान टीम है अभी खेलना अंडर रनियरी रोमा इज अ वेरी गुड साइड we all I mean at least under Ranieri right so do you agree with him because तुम लोग को एक ही कंपटीशन खेलना है do you think you should be a bit more fearless in your approach in general
यार मेरे पास में एक ही आंसर है एक कंपटीशन खेलो या 2 खेलो या 10 खेलो अच्छे से तो खेलो यार जीतो कुछ जाके जीतो 10
नहीं
चीज में
हर
100
गेम
चीज में
जीतना मुश्किल है
पार्टिसिपेट करने
योगेश
का क्या फायदा जब कुछ जीत ही नहीं रहे हो तो
that is fair, but even when Conte was with us, right, there was these crunch games, na Ajay bhai, where I remember वो सिर्फ एज करता था फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई रिमेंबर अ गेम अगेंस्ट हेल्लास वेरोना वेयर डार्मियन हैड टू स्कोर द सोल विनर आई रिमेंबर गेम्स अगेंस्ट कैलियरी व्हेन वी हैड टू स्कोर अ लॉन्ग रेंज गोल टू विन द मैच आई रिमेंबर दोस डेज एंड रैंडम ड्रॉ सो वो होगा योगेश देख परफेक्ट नहीं हो कॉन्टे इज आल्सो नॉट परफेक्ट एज मच एज यू वुड लाइक टू
Yeah,
थिंक पवाड़ का वो टैकल आई डोंट नो इफ यू गाइस सॉ यार वो डार्बी में अजय भाई
yeah, so,
And he celebrated also after that.
yeah that derby was great मतलब वो एनर्जी था उस derby में even without the tifos Napoli is based in Mumbai I guess तभी एसएससी अरे यार क्या गंदा जोक मारा है यार शी सब लोग
SSC का
सब
फुल
लोग ना
फॉर्म मैं बता देता
सब
हूँ
लोग सब लोग ना हैशटैग रवि आउट लिखो कमेंट्स में. एक गंदा जोक मारा है ना. Spam this. If you know what SSC is if you're from Bombay. But if you've seen this joke, I'm sorry, Ravi. Say Ravi out in the comments. Like, this is such a bad joke, DJ bhai. Like, my head is hurting after reading this joke. See this comment.
DJ, I have the same T-shirt, man.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Great minds think alike.
And you know what? I wore this T-shirt and recorded a video in the BST museum in
Oh,
at
I know,
Badara.
I know, I know.
oh, that's so cool, AJ. So
Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah, yeah, Ajay bhai.
all the staff are saying, "ये कहाँ से मिला सर आपको ये?"
It's such a cool, simple thought. Yeah, I don't know how. I mean,
It
like
is.
motherland stuff is really good.
It is. It is. It is.
4.5 on 10. This is not helping content. DJ bhai will get your thoughts also. Just let me take a few comments. Yeah, I mean, Okafor, again, it is a big. Yari, I'm not taking your jokes anymore. They're quite this thing. Milan had one of the best on paper, yes, Swarnim bhai, but again, he's like, we all have views on Joao Felix. I know he's super talented when he wants to be, but is he still going to decide to show up is the question over here. So let's see. ADL should have spent well. Billing is okay, not decent. I've seen him at Bournemouth, but losing Quara. I feel Billing is still a decent player in the sense कि एक competition अगर आप खेल और rotate करना पड़े, he'll come handy. I'm not saying he's great, but let's see. 4 on 10 for sure in terms of a replacement. Atalanta, yeah, we'll discuss their market as well. Milan squad got way better. Fair enough. Let's see on the pitch पहले यार. मतलब on paper तो ठीक है. If Morata was still at Milan, we would have had 1-2 offside goals as well. Um, okay, fair enough. But again, Inter also hit the post thrice, so both teams could have either way won. I was discussing with Chintan Bhai. Chintan Bhai said this to me. Milan would be disappointed to not win because they conceded in the end, but Inter would be disappointed to not take further points because we hit the post thrice, right, Ajay bhai? At the end of the day, like, what was that? So Ravi, in this is sorry, but no room for those kind of jokes anymore. But yeah, we'll get back to Napoli. मैं वो screen share कर रहा हूँ. DJ भाई, we are just going quickly through everyone's mercato ins and outs, and Yogesh is not happy entirely because primarily Okafor is the Kvaratskhelia replacement, and that's quite underwhelming अगर आप सोचोगे. मतलब, what do you think? Because I also agree with him. This is not the way to go.
Look, my 2 cents are I feel like for Napoli and Juve, lot of stuff came down to the wire. There wasn't enough real time to plan for this. I think the smart money would have been on waiting for the Quaria replacement in the summer to spend that money properly. I think this is more, to me, it's more like a stopgap. It is definitely underwhelming. And Okafor of all, I think who was the other option, Param, when they were considering?
So we started with Garnacho. He went to Adeyemi. Then we
Yeah,
went to
Adeyemi.
Alan Saint
Yes.
Maximan. Alan Saint Maximan, the former Newcastle player, current early player. Then they were rejected. Their bid was rejected for Noah Lang. Their bid was rejected, and then they ended up with Okafor in the end.
Yeah, so I think the buck stopped at Adeyemi. I feel like till there there was a little planning. The Okafor move to me, I don't want to say it smacked of desperation. It just came down to what was really available
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that money. And I think with Conte, a lot of it is he works with ensuring that he has depth in every position and how they fit his system. So he's not really hung up on the fact that it necessarily had to be a big name. It just has to be a player that he sees as fitting his profile of what he wants from that position. Personally, I think Okafor is very underwhelming, and I don't think he's going to kind of make the impact
Exactly.
that. Yeah, in the next 6 months, though, no chance. I mean, he's going to take time also to adapt to Conte's tactics. So, very underwhelming. Sorry, Yogesh. But that said, I mean, they are going to, they've kind of started to hit that momentum. What happens with Conte teams is the physicality starts to
Yeah.
peak at this part of the season. So Okafor really is more just coming from a depth perspective to help him manage the legs, more than anything else.
No, Ajay bhai, if you want to give closing thoughts on Napoli's mercato, matlab, I agree with DJ bhai, he's coming to give legs as Yogesh said, but यार वो फिट तो रहे, मतलब will contest training take a toll on him, will it improve him, that remains to be seen. But guys, actually let's rate Napoli's mercato one by one. Don't need to give an explanation, I think we've all given an explanation. I'll start with Ajay bhai, क्या बोलते हो on 10 with the context in mind obviously, क्या क्या rating दोगे आप लोग comments में भी दे दो.
I'm going to
Any
give it
rating?
4.5. 4.5.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yogesh कितना देगा? So
I
5.5
said
बोला,
no,
right?
5.5.
Yeah, are you changing it by any, like towards the end of this
नहीं नहीं क्या
discussion?
change करूँ? It is 5.5.
I would also give it like a 5.5. I think इतना उससे ज़्यादा, उससे कम भी नहीं देना चाहता, उससे ज़्यादा भी नहीं, because again billing के लिए थोड़े एक दो extra mark. I never understood the goalkeeping swap. I know Skufe is more experienced, but Caprile was, I felt, a long term signing they could have had inside in their house. Again, not a fan of this Okafor signing. Time will tell if he does well or no. I feel in, we all usually look at the incomings and we judge the market in terms of outgoings. I feel ठीक किया, because to get 7 million, to get this kind of money, I know Kvaratskhelia should not have left probably, but for Folarunsho these guys managed to whatever clear deadwood as well, थोड़ा इधर उधर जर्विन के लिए ये वो, तो उसके लिए भी वो सब ध्यान में रख के I'm giving a 5.5. What about you, DJ? How much would you rate Napoli?
A very solid 5.25. Look, I
Yogesh,
feel like
ये
it's
तो
a, I
योगेश
feel
जैसा
like it's
जवाब
a
हो गया. He
four,
also said
I feel like it's a 4.5 Mercato, but that 0.75 extra is fully on what Conte is going to do with these guys. So
fair enough, fair enough.
for me, I think they've just come in as depth, and he'll find a way to kind of create, basically regulate his his first 11 with the help of these guys, and I
Fair
think
enough,
they're
fair
just
enough.
going to help him get over the finish line.
Again, I want to see more people give their ratings here. I'm only seeing Hakan Pavardnoglu give his rating here. Come on, I want more people to get involved in this. Laying a comments, okay, don't worry. Again, if you guys want to quickly rate Inter's market, again, as I said, DJ by context is key, because it's not like we had to do a lot of business or we had room to do business. ऐसा नहीं था कि Arnautovic और कोरिया के लिए offers थे and we could let them go and buy a striker. So with context in mind, rate the market on 10. I'll start with Ajay bhai very quickly, because we discussed Inter already, but we didn't rate. So if you guys had to rate Ajay bhai very quickly.
Nick, I have always said that Zalewski will start bowling whenever he leaves Roma, and that has come true in the first game itself. But don't get on the hype train too much, because Zalewski
Yeah, I'm not.
occasionally does have these kind of games, and then
Obviously.
yeah. So I think just overall in terms of what Inter have signed for the future, and with the loan, the loan deals that they've done, Palacios on loan to Monza, वगैरह सब, तो I would give like a 6.5 out of 10, because I don't think so Inter needed to do anything extra
Much
actually, to be
business,
honest.
exactly.
वो है ना वो, there's that saying now, why fix something that's not broken yet? So
Exactly. I
seven,
would give it.
7 on 10, man. I mean,
Yeah, I would give it a 6 as a fan, because ऐसा again फिर से तुम ज़्यादा ये youth signings तो I'm not including. This shows all obviously, so youth signings तो I'm not including. But again, क्या ही करने का था अगर अर्नाटोविच कोरिया के लिए ऐसा नहीं थे कि जैसे मैंने बोला ऑफर्स थे. I know Fiorentina wanted Arnautovic, but they never really made a bid. So it is what it is. Maybe if he left, you never know if Inter would have looked at someone. But that's the reality. We only had to make maybe one change, two changes, और जिसको निकालना था निकाला. I'll give it a 6, because it's really a sideways market. There's not really much you can do in this market. And again, as I said, ज़्यादा कुछ करने जैसा था नहीं. Yogesh and DJ, what would you guys give?
Very regulatory market, yeah, Param. Like I feel like really they didn't really need to do much anyway.
Exactly.
It's a well-oiled machine. This is really one for the future.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like they have one eye on what they're going to be doing in the summer. Some of these guys will be used as trading chips. It's very hard to rate a market like this, but just because we're rating it, I'll say 5, because I don't see a
fair
lot
enough.
of these guys kind of break through, in that
I
sense.
understand. There is really, even if you don't want to give a rating, I can understand, because sideways business, but because you have signed someone like a Zalewski, I guess somewhere there has to be a rating. क्या बोलेगा Yogesh?
I would give Inter a 7, 6 plus 1 actually, 6 because it was an average one. And you signed that
Peter
under
Suchich ना?
23 now, right? Yeah.
अरे हाँ, मतलब किसका बोल रहा है तू? Sorry.
पीटर सोसेज का ही.
हाँ,
Suchich.
correct. Sorry. So तू उसका thanks for reminding, जो हमने अभी 5 मिनट पहले डिस्कस किया. So I'll bump my rating up to 6.5, because he's a very highly rated talent, and to secure his services permanently as early as January, I think is a very great deal. Sorry, go ahead, Yogesh.
So that's why I would give it a 6+1 7 out of 10.
Fair enough. Actually, वो remind करने के लिए
By
thank
the
you.
way,
You
I saw a bit of Suchishka highlights and that kid
हाँ,
who Man City signed from Porto, Gonzalez.
yeah, हाँ,
They play quite similarly, and Man City paid
yeah,
like
yeah,
50 million or something, man, for him. So
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
he's also a Nico Gonzalez only, no? Same
Yeah,
as
yeah,
he's
he is
also
a
Nico
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 Gonzalez.
Gonzalez.
Yeah, yeah,
only.
he
He's
is.
also Nico Gonzalez.
But
By the way,
about Suchi,
uh,
हाँ बोले.
Param, before we close, even Napoli, I just have one thing I want to share, which is peak Calcio, which is peak Serie A, peak De Laurentiis. It
Hmm.
is this. एक second, let me just pull it up on the
I know
screen.
what you're about to share. I know what you're about to share. I know what you're about to share. Bhai, this is the funniest story.
give the viewers a context, Param, कि ये क्या है, चला क्या
So,
ये?
so if anyone, even from the panel, I know Yogesh must know, but DJ, if you missed this or anyone कोई comments में अगर ये किसी ने भी miss किया होगा ना, Napoli see complica Dorval, right? So Dorval plays for Bari, which is De Laurentiis' second club, जिसका president उसका बेटा है Luigi De Laurentiis. Napoli was struggling to get a deal over the line for a player owned by basically their sister club. De Laurentiis was struggling to get a deal over the line for a player who जिसको own करता है. This is peak Italian football, योगेश. मतलब लिटरली तुम प्लेयर को ओनर सेम है, ओनर का बेटा है, वो बेटे को उठा के एक फोन पे गाली दे सकता है कि भाई चल मेरे को प्लेयर दे दे, चुपचाप दे दे, बट यू स्ट्रगल टू साइन हिम. एनी कमेंट्स?
क्या comments बोलो यार, like again I am not aware about this player actually, like who is
Forget the
Dorval with.
player, but this is
The
hilarious.
situation. Yogesh,
The
the
situation,
situation.
like how can you struggle to
The
sign a
Hera
player?
Fairy.
I guess it would have been down to the player himself. Yeah, he would not have been wanting to do the move. ऐसा कुछ रहा होगा.
Of course, but we are trying to see the funny side of it. क्योंकि यार ये अलग ही लेवल का बैंटर है कि भाई
Yeah,
तुम
yeah.
लोग तुम लोग अपने ही सॉर्ट ऑफ
ये
सिस्टर क्लब.
सिर्फ इटालियन फुटबॉल में होता है ये, और कहीं नहीं होता है ये,
हाँ,
सिर्फ
नहीं,
कैल्शियो में होता है ये.
ऑब्वियसली उस दिन हमने बारी पे वीडियो रिकॉर्ड किया एंड वी डिस्कस्ड दिस इन दैट वीडियो व्हिच विल ड्रॉप वेरी सून कि बारी फैंस ऑब्वियसली डू नॉट लाइक टू बी कॉल्ड द सेकंड क्लब ऑफ नेपल्स, जो एडीएल ने बोला, बट दिस इज स्टिल अ वेरी फनी सिचुएशन कि भाई खुद में ही लड़ रहे ये लोग एंड डील ही नहीं कर पा रहे. बट ऑल दैट असाइड गाइस, लेट मी जस्ट टेक अ फ्यू कमेंट्स, विल रन थ्रू द मार्केट बिफोर आई गेट टू द अदर स्टफ एज वेल. Hello guys, good to see DJ after a long time with hair. He always had hair, yeah. अच्छा सॉरी, विथ
Long
लॉन्ग
hair.
हेयर. मुझे लगा मैं उल्टा पड़ा, मैं बोला भाई when did DJ में shave his hair off or something. Wait one sec. Sorry, hello to everyone whose team won this week and hello Ajay bhai, Param, Yogesh and अच्छा तुम लोग जीते ना फाइनली रवि, वो भी तो है. Conte is definitely a one competition coach. He can never focus on two competitions at the same time, so it would be disappointing if they let Inter get the title. Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, with one competition, you've discussed this, कि they should ideally be winning most of their games from this point, but let's see. ये सब नहीं भाई, ये सब नहीं, Kanye West, ये सब इधर नहीं. इधर टाइम नहीं है वो सब के लिए. टाइम होता तो अलग बात है. At least they should have bought Saint Maximin on loan. He can bring. They tried, but Fenerbahce was not. Fenerbahce owns him, right? So the deal was complicated to do. Uh, uh, ये क्या है कोलोमुआनी पे थॉट्स. वील आस्क डीजे भाई इन अ बिट. आई एम स्टारिंग योर कमेंट बिकॉज यूए का मार्केट बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे. नेरेस क्लियर्स ओकाफोर एनी डे. कॉन्टे स्पिनोज़ोला को लेफ्ट विंग खिला लेगा देन ओवर प्लेइंग ओकाफोर. सॉलिड 5.5 फॉर नापोली. या यू कैन आस्क मैन, यू डोंट हैव टू वेट फॉर मी, यू कैन आस्क द क्वेश्चन. Parma barely did anything. Parma fans are pissed off to Twitter पे. Parma Twitter
Yeah.
करेगा ना Parma fans को, and if you tell them it's a good market, गाली देंगे तेरे को 10 रिटर्न में. I'm just saying it. Their market was bad. They missed out on a very good signing last minute because the documents never came through. Como we will discuss because guys, Como, I was doing calculations. मैं कल अजय भाई को यही बोल रहा था. Had they completed DJ all their signings now, their summer and winter mercato would have gone up to an expenditure. I'm only looking at the expenditure of 106 million euros. Right now, officially it stands at 96.7 million euros. Summer and winter.
80 kuch million tha, I was reading earlier. No?
96.7. They did 2 more deadline day moves, so it's bumped up to 96.7, which we'll look at how. Shivam says 5 on 10 for UA. Swarnim Bhai also says 5. Ankit also says 5. This is for UA, by the way. Inter solid. Yeah, exactly. It's very indifferent. I agree. Average 6 on 10. They already. Exactly. Again, this is pretty much the assessment. 6. It's hard to improve Inter. They are. Exactly. Again, you can't really give more than a 6. I agree. I don't know about Carragher's comments. Both Inzaghi brothers are at second in their respective leagues. Yeah. Pisa also के साथ Pippo Inzaghi. Um, yeah, Bongiorno and Stefan De Vrij so far the best defenders. Fair enough. बाप बड़ा ना भैया सबसे बड़ा रुपया ये तेरे लिए योगेश उसके लिए फॉर्जा इंटर फॉर्जा ज़ालेव्स्की काले हुआ होगा लोरेंटिस परिवार में ADL all the jokes coming in. What's Inter's plan with Palacios? You think he's got a shot at becoming a starter at Inter? It's too soon to say. It's too soon to say. Let him play a few minutes first at Monza, then we'll see. I think he had a decent debut, barring one error, but we'll see. If Inter going to win the Scudetto, then my goat Angelino. हाँ Angelino को भेज देना जब हम लोग एक extra medal भेज देंगे side से अगर ऐसा हुआ तो. But all jokes aside, guys, let's rate another club. I want to just थोड़ा run through some clubs. Ajay, if you
Yeah,
don't mind, before I get
yeah,
to
yeah.
UA.
And let's do the likes of Atalanta, Como,
Yeah,
Fiorentina.
running through ऐसा नहीं कि
Who's
don't get
there?
us wrong, we're not skipping anything, but just overview of sorts because हर 20 क्लब का तो डिस्कस करने के वाले पास हमारे पास टाइम नहीं है. AC Milan again we have to wait, UA we have to wait. Atalanta we can discuss थोड़ा briefly. Again ज़्यादा हुआ नहीं Atalanta के लिए अजय भाई.
My
Daniel
boy,
Maldini,
Daniel Maldini.
your boy. हाँ. डैनियल
So
माल्डिनी
I'm,
इज इन मतलब 10 से 11 मिलियन आई थिंक बोनसेस को इंक्लूडेड करके 11 मिलियन था एंड क्या बोलते हो अजय मतलब क्या बोलते हो इस मार्केट के बारे में बिकॉज गॉडफ्रे वाज ऑब्वियसली लेट गो बिकॉज ही वाज नॉट रियली मेकिंग पॉश इज अ रिलायबल सेरिया आ प्लेयर गिवन द इंजरी क्राइसिस इन डिफेंस एंड
yep.
गोलिनी ऑब्वियसली बैकअप गोलकीपर बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली कार्नेसी के बीच में इंजर हुआ था ये वो क्या बोलते हो इस
ना
मार्केट के बारे में
Colini को sign करके Roma have loaned him from Atlanta.
Yeah, correct. Sorry,
So
my bad. Roma, yeah, loaned him from Atalanta. Correct. Yes, thanks for reminding me. I forgot Ryan गया था इसलिए वही my bad, my bad.
yeah.
But क्या बोलते हो
Look,
उसके बारे में?
I think it's a bit underwhelming, but they're also factoring the return of Skamaka. I know he came back, but he got injured once again. So agar, if that is the case, then they have the likes of Skamaka and Retegi who are out and out strikers, number nines, you can say. And then, of course, you have De Ketelaere and Lookman who are, the other attacking options. So, Ek Zaniolo obviously was on loan. So Daniel Maldini coming in is a replacement for Zaniolo. So I think their attack is pretty much covered. The only worry is that because they play with three center backs. So I know Posh is like a very seasoned player and he did well for Bologna. लेकिन वहां पे I feel कि उनका थोड़ा एक they're still short on a few good defenders. तो शायद they should have done a bit more in this mercato. But given how Atlanta have started 2025, they've not had like a great time. But then with Gasperini, he ends season very well. So overall, I feel it's a good mercato, and I'll give it about a 6.5 on 10 for Atlanta, and they'll be looking to get back into playing Champions League football this season and give a do a deep run in the Champions League.
Fair enough, fair enough. Let's start rating, guys. I'll ask you guys अलग-अलग club का separately if that is fine. क्योंकि Zaniolo obviously went to Fiorentina again. That did not work out. Obviously, not the greatest of moves in terms of incoming. वो बाद में discuss करेंगे. But let's start rating this Atalanta market, guys. How much would you rate it? Starting with Yogesh.
I would rate it 7 out of 10.
How much?
7 out of 10.
7. Okay.
I heard 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I heard
I
10.
heard
मेरे को
9.
वही डर लगा बीच में
I
कट
heard
गया.
9.
Nah, 7, 7, 7.
7. Okay, fair enough. Any
Chala.
Sorry.
Thoughts मेरे ये यार डैनियल मार्लिनी को साइन किया like he was not performing. Like Atlanta is very popular for getting players to perform who have not performed at other places. तो Gasperini juice है कुछ तो भी. So I'm hoping that Maldini also ends up reviving his career. And Zaniolo couldn't work out at Atlanta yet, so I'm not sure at which place he will work out. अगर Atlanta में भी नहीं कर पाया तो. I remember Gasperini had made a very stern public
Yeah.
comments on. So that was, I think,
Yeah.
this transfer out from Zaniolo was brimming for some time, and yeah, I think it's a good market for them. I mean, they let go of the player who didn't wanted to stick around, and they
Hmm.
are still in the running for the Champions League places and possibly Scudetto as well. So it's a good market for Atlanta overall.
ठीक है. DJ, how much would you rate this? Their market, sorry.
I actually like it, Param. I think it's the players they brought in will have an impact in the 6 months. I would go with the between a 7 and a 7.5
Hmm.
rating. Posh also is a very mature player, so he's been
Yeah,
brought in to kind of have that instant impact.
yeah.
Maldini for me is someone who Gasperini will give opportunity to and groom. And I
Hmm.
think, if ever there was a chance for his career to bloom, it'll be here and under
Hmm.
gas. So I,
Fair
I
enough.
think these two are very astute signings, and I think they will come good in these 6 months. So there's two parts, right, to the winter mercato. A
Hmm.
lot of people focus on names, but
Hmm.
the way the psychology of where the team is at that point in time, what kind of momentum the team has, what group they are joining, that also has
Hmm.
an impact on how effective they can be in those 6 months. You know, team morale is low.
Hmm.
It's very hard for a player to come and make an instant impact. You know, because
Hmm.
the entire environment is full pressure all the
Hmm.
time. So I
Hmm.
think Atlanta are very well pegged in the sense that they've had a good start to the season. They are beginning to slow down a little bit, and that's why I feel both Porsche and Maldini will have some kind of positivity and impact.
Fair enough. Fair enough. No, I give
I,
it a
I
seven
don't see them,
numbers.
so I do feel they've lost a lot of steam. I don't see them recover enough to win the Scudetto, but now I think they're in a good place to consolidate third.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I agree with you. I'll give it a seven as well. Because I feel Daniel Maldini again. I still need to see more from him, but maybe शायद Atalanta में अच्छा कर ले. I know Atalanta were having fun with their social media posts. Maldini in Nerazzurro ये सब वो सब करके. But all those jokes aside, I feel Stefan Posch is a really decent player. He's been in the league a while. थोड़ा versatile भी है. I feel they need that kind of a player with experience and whatnot. So I feel a very good signing there. Seven mainly because of him, and then Daniel Maldini has potential. He bursts into that remains to be seen. So yeah, Ajay, I'm sharing this link with you. I'll just be back in 1 minute. If you want to take over, just discuss the other clubs. I'll be back in a minute. बस ये link ले लो मैंने chat पे share किया. I'll just be back.
All right, all right. I'll take some. Yogesh, if you can take some comments in the
Yeah, yeah,
meantime
we
under
have
the
a
opening.
very good comment from Mr. Uncle Sharma himself. Uh, can't believe Gasperini still moves the way he did during his business and enter. Zaniolo is on a mission to play all 20 Serie A teams, says Ravi.
For all 20s. Yeah,
For
I
all,
don't
yeah.
honestly, I don't know. I'm in a minority, but yeah, sometimes I feel like Zaniolo is getting a bit more hate than he deserves. Like the comment about that Ravindra made, it's really to think like 2, 3 years ago, he was really touted as the next big thing.
Yeah, yeah,
And then the ACLs just screw things up for you so badly. It's so
Yeah.
unfortunate, you know. And he was a high impact, and I think also he had that leadership temperament, as a player. So all he needed was the right grooming in the right environment. There were a lot of opportunities, and very unfortunate his trajectory after that. Some bad decisions as well along the way. I do think though Fiorentina would be a great place for a revival.
yeah, yeah. Ravindra has another good comment about Chiesa. Like he's worried that Italy will have very less options in 2025. Yeah, that's true, man. Italy का future थोड़ा is not looking the greatest at this point in time. We have another comment from Nikhil Pratap. The blue and black is different here. Plus, don't think the current management would have tried to sign him anyways. I think this is for Maldini.
Fair. I think we can move on to the next club, which are Fiorentina. Before
Yeah,
DJ and Param join us, where we talk about Juve because we need DJ to speak about Juve. But Fiorentina in the market, very active. Signed a lot of Italian players, especially
yeah, yeah,
their last signing was Fagioli from Juve, DJ. But surprising to see them so active, man. Obviously, they got Share and Dude from PSG, highly rated central midfielder, Italian passport holder, definitely a good talent. Zaniolo was let go. Uh, Sorry, Zaniolo was signed. I mean, when Atlanta let go of him, so he's signed on loan. Fagioli has come in from Juve. Pablo Mari has come in from Monza. Monza are literally, selling all their starters and planning a life in the lower divisions, in my opinion. Folorunsho has come in from Napoli. Good depth once again. And Valentini has come in from Boca. But yeah, otherwise, what do you make of Fiorentina this January, guys? How do you think? A, why do you think they've been so active? And B, do you think these signings will work out? DJ, starting with you.
AJ, it's very clear, yeah. They're believing in the Champions League push, and I think very clearly that's where it's come from. Again, they perhaps felt like they're losing a little bit of steam, and if you can see like the likes of Fagioli and Zaniolo means that really like they have a certain plan in place. Palladino, I really, I mean, apart from being a coach, he's got an idea and vision of football. Also from the way that they've scouted the players, just look at the market values. What did they buy these guys for? Do we know
Yeah.
what? Um, Not the outs. Age, can you just scroll up, please, to the ins? Who's the guy who's coming from Boca?
So
Valentini.
Valentini, yeah, but Valentini is already gone out on loan, if I'm not mistaken. So that is a one. That's a one for the future. But obviously, the standout signing here is that of Fagioli. That is
Man,
the most standout. And uh, DJ, as a Juventino, how? I mean, I know all the UA fans were a bit disheartened, but honestly, you had 24 hours to digest the news. What do you make of Fagioli leaving UA and joining Fiorentina?
AJ, I was up till transfer deadline because I didn't see any Fagioli news till the last 1 hour. Suddenly GDM tweets um, Fagioli very close to Fiorentina. Then I see Agresti and I'm just like, what is happening? And then of course he made a statement that everything was decided in the last 1 hour. Um, it was his decision to leave very fairly. I think to me this is a big loss for as a Juve fan. I feel very like when one of you leave, it's very hard to digest. But I think there is a certain pragmatism in the sense that Fagio has an immense ceiling, and I really hope he finds it at Fiorentina. But he wasn't the same player post the scandal. I don't know if it's because of the loss of momentum, it's because of the change of coach. Very clearly, also, I feel like he's been a bit hard done by Mota, and I feel this is more on Mota than it is on Giuntoli because Giuntoli did renew his contract, extend his contract, and Mota, I think, gave more chances to Luis, more undeserved chances to Luis than he did to Fagioli. Um, Fajoli is a very cerebral, intelligent player, and he reads the game really well. He is that 21, so to speak. I hope he has that time and space to discover the form he had pre-scandal at Fiorentina and hit those heights. Why he was sold, AJ, is it's very clear. There's a very clear plus for Lenza. A, he doesn't figure in Motta's plans. What is the point of him rotting on the bench? I'd rather he go out and make a career for himself. And yeah, you just have to view that pragmatically because you do support like the player's intention. You want to see the player break out. It's very unfortunate and heartbreaking that he's not going to have this career at Juve. I do hope he has it at Fiorentina, but I think he has a little bit of work to do, for him to hit that high again.
Fair, fair. I also like the signings that they made of Folorunsho. Obviously, adds a lot of depth for them for
Yes.
Fiorentina.
and and
Uh,
and maturity, yeah, there is it's a nice mix, and I feel like again I'm going back to Zaniolo. I feel like if Zaniolo stays fit again, it's a very astute signing.
and Zaniolo gets to play with his buddy Moise Kean, who already put up an Instagram story with him because both of them have been wanting to play with each other at club level, having played for Italy in the youth
Right,
rank. So that will
right.
be very interesting. But I just want to point out their outs because they got rid of a lot of deadwood.
The
Lucas
Sutton deal
Martinez,
happened with Milan.
yes, Sotil has moved to Milan.
What were the numbers on that?
It's a loan fee, 1 million. It's a dry loan, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, it's a dry loan. That's
Yeah,
very strange. Yeah, why would they send him out on a dry loan? I mean, I thought they'd want to like cash in on that.
I'm sure that
I
they
feel like he's a better player than a dry loan. That's just my point.
100%, 100%, 100%. But I think they have a lot of places filled up in their squad already, which is why they kind of let him go for now. But uh, these guys, Lucas Martinez, Quarta, Jonathan Ikone, who's joined Como, Michael Coyote, highly rated right back, has joined Brentford for an initial loan fee. I think it's a loan with an option to buy. Cristiano Biraghi has gone to Torino. Christian Kouame has gone to Empoli. So a lot of, I would say, deadwood has been
Outs.
cleared.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Fiorentina. So if DJ, if you had to rate their transfer window, January transfer window, how much will you give them out of 10?
6.
Yogesh,
6 also because of the fact that Zaniolo is injury prone. If he stays fit, it might be a 7.
fair. Yogesh, you're on mute, Yogesh.
Sorry, I would give Fiorentina a 7.5 out of 10 for their transfer market activity. I think they did a quite good on the market actually, and I can see them pushing for the Champions League places. Like I think that was the real reason why they did so much activity on the market. Like they see that a Champions League place is within their grasp. Like more than half of a season has gone, and they are still about there, like 3-4 points off the pace. So I think that's the reason for so much activity, and I think with the activity they have done, it's quite positive, and they would be in the Champions League conversation next season.
Fair. Even I would give Fiorentina 7 on 10, considering they got a lot of depth and removed a lot of deadwood. So 7 on 10 for me. Param?
Fiorentina, here again, I मतलब बहुत साइनिंग्स तो की उसने बट उन्होंने सॉरी आई मीन बट द थिंग इज आई स्टिल फील आज किसी ने अपने ग्रुप में बोला ना कि दे टुक आउट अ लॉट ऑफ द देयर वाइड प्लेयर्स यार फ्रॉम द टीम एंड इज देयर अ प्लान टू चेंज द सिस्टम नाउ ऑल टुगेदर why was Nicolas Valentini signed in this January window when he was already sold to Hellas Verona in the same
Yeah.
window? So I did not understand that. Not saying he's a great player or anything, but then Biragi left, which is a plus point because वो तो bench player था. So Sotil को lose किया, didn't sign a player. मतलब Fagioli technically yes, but then they needed an attack-minded player as a backup to Moise Kean. So I would still give it a 6.6 or 5, something like that. मतलब because I don't know if I can rate it as high as Atalanta just because of the number of incoming. Share Endor, मतलब he's still to prove a point. Matlab, he's still not done much, anything of significance. He moved to PSG too soon in his career. Zaniolo, he's back at home. Can he revive his career? Let's see. Then again, that's another story. Fagioli is a good signing. मैं agree करता हूँ. Pablo Mari might not be the greatest player. I know Chintan भाई को पसंद नहीं है, but Palladino lost Pablo Mari. He's his general, and I think Fiorentina को general type एक defender चाहिए था. I think one biggest plus point was not selling Comuzzo to Lazio. Sorry, Yogesh, but I think retaining Comuzzo was big. So उस हिसाब से चलो थोड़ा I'll bump it up 6.8 or something like that. But I don't know 7 और 0.2 कहीं तो काटना पड़ेगा मेरे को. Atalanta से शायद कम देना पड़ेगा. But yeah, I'll stick with a 6.8.
Fair. Quickly, Torino, because Torino, you had a major signing, the saga of Cesare Cassidy, and that finally ended with Torino signing him. And then, of course, they got Elmas, former Napoli player, and Cristiano Biraghi on deadline day. Quickly, what do you make of them, Param?
Give me 1 minute. I'll be back in a minute here. Just a few calls
Okay.
to make.
Yeah. DJ, same question to you about Torino. Quickly.
AJ consolidatory. Like I don't. I feel like it's. I don't want to say sideways, but it's not going to have the impact that they would imagine. But again, Elmas coming in is a bit of an unknown quantity in how he'll take to the league, how he'll take to the side. Is it a loan or is it an option?
It is a loan.
dry
And
loan?
no,
Obligation or dry loan?
यहाँ पे तो it is given as a loan. I don't know whether it's a dry loan or
Which
not,
one?
but
Which one?
Elmas.
Elmas?
Elmas is a loan with an option to buy. But I
Okay.
will say the downside of that deal is, to quickly wrap up Torino, is कि जो भी 6 महीने का लोन है, right? DJ Van is injured for a while. ऐसा नहीं is immediately
Yeah.
right available right away. So Torino fans are pissed off. Casadei is a good signing, I would say. मतलब loan obligation, but again, Casadei is also has to prove a lot. ऐसा नहीं कि he's a star coming in. And Biragi, ठीक है, मतलब बिरागी, आई नो वी वर आल्सो लिंक्ड विद बिरागी, और मेरा तो मुझे तो डर लग रहा था बिरागी वापस आ जाएगा इंटर में. थैंक गॉड इज नॉट हियर. बट या अजय भाई, नथिंग. इफ यू सी द आउटगोइंग्स आल्सो, वनोली ने तो प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में आके बोला ना फेमसली, आई वांटेड वन प्लेयर, वन रिप्लेसमेंट फॉर डुवान Zapata, and I don't see that.
Yeah,
I don't see that
yeah,
anywhere. So a big L, as the kids say these days. Voivoda went to Como, obviously. Uh,
Hmm.
apart from that, really nothing significant. ठीक है, मिडफील्ड में साइन किया. I don't know यार, I'll give it a 6. Cairo
Fair,
is
fair.
shameless. That's all I can
Yeah,
say.
about 5.5 for me.
Yeah, actually 5.5, not even a 6. 5.5. क्या बोलते हैं
Yogesh,
योगेश?
Yeah, similar thoughts. Yeah, 5.5. Like Torino are going nowhere here. They won't get relegated. They are not in the fight for like any European places. So they are just very stagnant right now.
Yeah,
fair, fair. I think we
and
can move on. I was watching. Yeah,
I
here it
just
is.
I just want to say, मैं वो आधा पॉइंट जो काटा ना, मैं कायरो के लिए काटा, because he's just too shameless. हमने बार बार बोला, I don't want to dwell on it, but he has no ounce of remorse, nothing. He just does not, I think, care about the club, and he's unfortunately going to stay. ऐसा लग रहा है, he's not going anywhere. So yeah, that's just sad for a great club like Torino. That's all I just want to add. We'll just come to the comments in a while, guys. Don't worry. Once
Yeah,
we come to
yeah,
UA
yeah.
and all, comments पे आ जाते हैं हम लोग.
Quickly, I want to talk about one of the main, I would say, eye catchers of this window, Como. भाई
हाँ.
इतने सारे इनकमिंग्स जनवरी में. I mean, they are seriously, I would say they're ambitious to make a push into the top half of the table, and with the kind of acquisitions they've made, I think that's the plan that they have. Param, क्या लगता है यार, the kind of players they've brought in, anything that catches your eye?
टॉप हाफ नहीं बोलूंगा, बट एटलीस्ट दिस इज गुड इनफ टू सर्वाइव इन द लीग. आई थिंक ये सर्वाइव करेंगे. उसके बाद द गोल इज, एज डीजे भाई सेड फॉर अर्लियर कैसे नापोली के लिए, कि दे लुक टू सॉलिडिफाई विद समर साइनिंग्स. दैट्स देयर गोल. Then to become a mid-table team is my impression. I'm not saying these signings are bad, by the way. Again, 96.5 million across 2 windows is madness. ये हमारी clubs नहीं.
Madness.
Again, technically the richest club in Italy. Technically, obviously उतना spend तो नहीं करेंगे वो लोग, but कर तो दिया है. Kokere is a very, very good talent who has unfortunately been injury prone for the last few seasons. Otherwise,
Yeah,
we would be talking about him in the same breath as Ryan Cherki. Like everybody looks at Ryan Cherki and goes mad. मेरे को चाहिए, मेरे club में मेरे को चाहिए. That also
yeah,
would have been Maxence Kokere if he would not be as injury prone. Dubikis is a very underrated player. जो Celta Vigo में था, Shivam will know of him. Obviously numbers शायद उतने खास ना हो, but he's a very decent player. अगर आप थोड़ा zoom in करो अजय भाई, असान डियाओ जो रियल बेटिस से साइन किया, अगेन Real Betis fans were a bit irritated with the player, even though he's young. But again, I feel another good talent. जो उसने हमने देखा already, he made an impact in his first game. And Butes finally an experienced goalkeeper. They kicked out Audero, and I feel goalkeeping, if you remember, we had discussed this, was their biggest weakness. Pepe Reina in 2025 can't be starting. So I think they did good. They did good business, and I would rate it, even with the outgoings, I would rate it an 8. Only because they finally, Alex Valle, as somebody said, a very good talent to keep an eye on. Dele Ali, I'm not excited. I mean, sure, he's Dele Ali, so he'll get the hype, but I don't see anything useful over there. But yeah, an 8 is fair enough, I would say, given that वो लोग try कर रहे हैं fix करने के लिए.
fair. Your thoughts, Yogesh, DJ, on Como?
Very shortly, like I will give Como an 8.5. I think they have done quite good on the market, and with this mercato, I think they'll be able to survive the league.
DJ?
Yeah, I think they're a very ambitious club for where they are and where they're coming from. I like that. I mean, there is a certain vision at play. I also feel like internally they're very confident about surviving. This is more about planning for next season. I think 8.5 is a bit. Um, I think it's a bit kind. I would say about 7.
Fair enough.
Even
Fair enough.
I would give it.
Bolo, bolo,
Even
bolo.
I would give it a seven,
Fair
seven
enough.
as well.
Actually, yeah, yeah. Just let me quick. DJY has. I know you're limited on time, so we'll jump to UA Ajay bhai. Then we'll come
Yeah,
to comments yes, because
yeah,
UA may be here.
yeah.
DJY is a bit
Just
short,
just
and Baki
just
will run through.
one note here. Outgoing Andrea Bellotti to Benfica. Just
Yeah,
My
wanted
man.
to know.
God.
What an upgrade if ever there was one.
Yeah, yeah. If you ever want to know how to scam, I'm not encouraging this by the way. मैं encourage नहीं करता हूँ. But अगर आपको किसी से सीखना हो ना ये सब टेक्निक्स योगेश की कैसे स्कैम करके ऊपर बढ़े ये बेलोटी से सीखो. Like how the hell do you go from Como with all due respect जिनको अभी भी बहुत कुछ अचीव करना है to Benfica who's playing in the Champions League? Like how? A guy who scores nothing he's gone on to become one of the at least backup players for Benfica. Obviously, there are 10 things wrong with Benfica to even do this, but still, like, seriously. Uh,
Yeah, this
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
When you fall upwards. You
Yeah, yeah.
don't fall down. You just fall upwards. So Bellotti का तो वही है
Belotti
भाई.
goal.
I mean,
That's actually Belotti. Yeah, we have Kostub, King Kostub also joining. Kostub joined at the right time because we are discussing your favorite player Belotti falling upwards to Como, man. Like how does this even happen?
I guess luck. पता है मतलब we underestimate the idea of luck so many times
Yeah,
in football कि you never know कहाँ से demand आया and where you just somehow fit in and you're easy to get. So I guess it's probably that because the guy has not done much. कितना in what 2 seasons? I guess more than
many
that
years,
because last few
कुछ नहीं
months
किया.
at
He's done
Torino.
nothing. He's done
हाँ,
nothing
yeah,
significant.
because
many
last
years.
few months at Torino was nothing either. He had fallen off physically, injuries,
Yeah,
everything. So a lot of times it's just luck. The worst of the players can get a good deal.
serious. It's
You never know. So it's like you just need to be around
yeah,
for a lot of players. बस आसपास scene में रहो. You
Yeah,
never
I
know
think
opportunity कब आ जाए.
I
I honestly think he got this deal because he's genuinely a nice guy. You can't hate him.
हाँ, yeah,
So
it
no.
could be.
वो एकदम
Could be,
बेचारा
yeah.
है. As a Romanista, I genuinely feel bad for him, and I really wanted that move to work out. But
That's fair.
Hmm.
But I
but
don't agree with this. I don't see any aura in Belotti. Like,
he's
sorry.
got no aura. He's like that shy guy in the corner. Who doesn't
हाँ,
speak
yeah.
much.
His
That
back, the shape of his back gives me a backache. He has no
Yeah,
aura.
I
yeah,
know
yeah,
it's
yeah.
that hunchback sort of neck. But all that aside, let's come to UA quickly because DJ Bhai is
Okay.
also is on crunch time over here. So let's get to UA. यार. UA पे DJ Bhai, Alberto Costa, Renato Vega, Lloyd Kelly, Randall Colo Muani are the incomings and outgoings. Obviously, अजय भाई अगर आप दिखा दोगे if just very quickly, Fagioli obviously थोड़े Juventus नहीं बहुत Juventus fans upset है. Danilo people are upset the way he was let go obviously by Giuntoli, the way more than him being let go. And obviously Arthur obviously everybody is fine. Pogba we all knew what happened so that's not really a thing. But क्या बोलते हो DJ भाई because me and Kostub told you this we were not really convinced by the Lloyd Kelly signing because it looks like you all are looking to add physicality and height in that with Renato Vega and Lloyd Kelly. Obviously, both are 6 foot plus and whatnot and are a bit physical at least. But what do you make of it? What do you make of it?
Yeah, very honestly, Param, I haven't seen Lloyd Kelly play. It's only from our conversations when you and Costa were informing me that I kind of got that information about him as a player. I think with him, the angst is on two levels. One is we let Hoyson go at 17 million and then we're paying 18 million for Lloyd Kelly. But I want Juve fans to understand that that is not a linear move. It's not like we did that in the same window and that's not how we planned it. Like, people don't seem to understand that there is a certain circumstance involved in the way the mercato has moved for us. I think we need to be patient. We have to be humble enough to understand and stop being entitled, and we have to be humble enough to understand that this is a ground zero year to begin with. I don't remember the last time I saw Juve where there were two defenders with an ACL. I don't remember this in recent memory. So we have to be a little patient. It's very clear that Lloyd Kelly was not the first choice. There are a few people who know this and there are perhaps a few who don't, but Danso failed secret medical, which is what led to Gintoli moving in desperation. I mean, it is a desperate move, but there is also circumstantial evidence where we have to be patient and understand that It's not for lack of wanting or trying. What I've seen of Vega personally, too early. He's a young guy, very, very early, and therefore premature judgment. But I liked what I saw against Empoli, not only for his game sense, because he moved very well off the ball as well, and he gave Gatti a little bit more lateral freedom. The second thing is he's very comfortable on the ball. I like that. And I also really like the fact that he has a leadership temperament, because
Yeah.
when Deschilio scored, there was a lot of times when like the camera was panning and I could see Vega kind of pushing everyone up, and what I loved was he was talking to everyone. It's his first game. That's what you need to do in the defense. You have to command. You have to command the area because you have to help the transition. So I really liked what I saw. Very early days. He's only 21. So again, we have to be patient. Don't want to get too attached because, of course, it is only a loan. From what I understand, there is not even an option. Kelly, there is an obligation. So, I mean, that's that. But I think, of course, Vega is something that we can come to, because I'm sure if things work out, Juve will be in a position to kind of pick this conversation up again with Chelsea. So, and I think Chelsea will be open to do a deal. Uh, uh, Alberto Costa, again, unknown quantity. Haven't seen anything of him. He looks the part. He just looks like he has the legs to play the flank. He reminds me physically a little bit of Grosso. So I don't know what to expect from him. We've got to really see him in action. I think he'll probably debut in the Copa game. And that brings us to Kolo Muani. Yeah? Like what is to be said, I don't think there was a better striker on the market. Under the circumstances, I think Giuntoli's done a very, very good job. It's shown on the field as well. The guy has got goals in him. He's a mature guy. Hopefully good head on his shoulders. And I think Motta really wanted him. So he kind of fits that system a lot better. There's a lot of people who feel like he will replace Vlahovic. I'd like to counter and say that it's also highly probable that he'll play off Vlahovic. I think Motta will kind of bring in that two-striker system, and Vlaho will be more central, in that regard. So I think interesting from an attack perspective. Obviously, very underwhelmed with the signing of Kelly, but I don't think it's for the lack of trying. And I think, we're at ground zero. Have to be patient, have to be humble, can't be entitled, and we've got to just believe.
I agree. That's you've said it well. I still feel thoda underwhelming hai, in the sense ki I know it is not easy to sign for 2 ACL injuries. I understand all that, but I still feel certain things maybe somewhere you could have at least. I'm not saying UA didn't try, but then when I look at Lloyd Kelly, again, this is me saying before he's kicked a ball for Juventus, he could do end up, as Kostub said, he could prove to be a decent player. But still, I don't know. Some question marks I have over there. But apart
You're
from
right.
that,
You're right, Param. But Dick, in the future, long term, he's just a backup. He's never going to be the starter.
That's fair.
You just have to leave it for what it is from that
That's
perspective.
fair.
Also, there is the fact that he plays left first and foremost. And Cambiaso is not sold. So Cambiaso is still going to start once he's back. So it is more a depth signing. I think he's going to be largely invisible once we move into the summer. I think that's my consolation. The thing that affected me as a Juve fan the most is, of course, the sale of Fagioli. I was really upset, really sad. Like I said, I was talking when you were off camera. I was telling AJ as well that you've also got to be pragmatic, right? Like the guy's not getting to play. It's pure plus Valencia. And also he's not the same player post the scandal, the betting scandal. So I feel like there was really nothing to do. If Motta's not going to play him, you have to move him on. Also, I have a sneaky feeling that a lot of this money, and I also don't think Luis is going to be here in the summer. I feel a lot of it is going to be reinvested in trying to bring Tonali back to Italy. So, you never know. And it really comes to, I would like to really see how these guys, the bigger piece of the puzzle in the summer.
I'll come to the rest of the comments, but I saw this at what I would say he was good for Bournemouth. I don't know what really good, but I agree Bournemouth ke liye to acha tha. Newcastle United, he was way too injured to even have any sort of impact. So That's the issue, right? Juventus are not short of injuries here. That's the problem I have. But apart
with
from that, let's start rating,
with
guys.
with all due respect, this is not Simon Go Back. This is me saying वो Bournemouth है और ये Juventus है मालूम है क्या? It's it's basically you're talking about Kolaba and Virar. To be very honest, if I do.
Look, if he was in a Bournemouth coached by Iraola, current Bournemouth that is, and if he played well, then obviously I would tip my hat off more. But as that's where basically my point is, I agree sort of with Ajay Bhai over here, with all due respect. But let's start rating, guys. Matlab, let's start rating US market. I'll start with Ajay Bhai, Kostob, Yogesh.
I'll give it a 6 on 10 because I think Juve could have done better in terms of incomings of players, considering they have Bremer who's out for a long spell. I'm happy that they didn't sell Cambiaso. I think that's a win for the league because I would have been gutted to see Cambiaso play in the Premier League for
It's
that
going
kind
to
of
happen,
money.
AJ, in the summer. They just say it's just a matter of having that time to pivot with the money. That's what it's going to be. I don't know if you guys know
Absolutely.
this. I mean, there was a report earlier today on Football Italia. Manchester United came in last minute for
Yeah.
Douglas Luiz,
Douglas Luiz,
and
yeah.
and Juve shot it down. And really, for me, that should have been the move, and we should have held on to Fagioli. It would have been
Yeah,
much easier.
absolutely.
No?
Absolutely. And United would have spent crazy money also on him. So yes. So
What
6
are
on
what
10
are
for
the
me.
figure, what are the figures, Costa, for Luis?
I don't know. The report said that United made a last minute attempt. There was no figure mentioned. But pehle, this is like a week ago, they were saying that Juve will only accept a permanent sale for about 40 plus. So 40 plus say they would have made a capital profit because
Yeah.
basically the fee he came for was 25 plus players. So
Correct.
profit he tha. So they only wanted a permanent sale, which
Right.
Premier League clubs could have paid for, but not United. City
Mm,
might have, but too much probably.
Yogesh, quickly, if you wanted to rate, and Kostob.
Yeah. Out of 10, I would give Juventus Mercato a 6.5.
क्या
Point
बात कर
5
रहे हैं
extra.
योगेश? What are you saying?
I would have given 6, but point 5 इसलिए देना चाहूंगा, extra इसलिए देना चाह रहा हूँ because of Colomwani. Colomwani looks like a good signing, like instant impact किया बंदे ने. So that's the reason for my rating.
But बाकी के players, I mean, you think they'll have an
Rest
impact?
of the players, yeah, all three, Costa, Renato Vega, and Lloyd Kelly. I don't think so. They'll be here after the summer. I don't think so. They are in the long-term project for
Costa,
Juventus.
so they bought outright.
कोस्टा तो यंग प्लेयर है, वो रहेगा, वो मोस्टली
Hmm.
रहेगा. बट आई एग्री विद रेनाटो वेगा. तो आई डोंट थिंक चेल्सी विल लेट गो इजीली बाय एनी मींस. मतलब he's just like he's someone they've signed. Obviously Chelsea signed a lot of players, that's there, but I get his point otherwise. But yeah, कितना दिया? तो sorry, 6.5, right? क्या बोलते हैं Costo? How much would you rate this?
I feel Juve window can be like down into two. One is suitability. हम लोग when we were speaking on our chat, I felt that Costa, Renato Vega, Lloyd Kelly, Colomwani are very Mota players. So in terms of their skill set, their profile. So in terms of suitability to the system, I would give them 7, 7.5, or maybe even 8, depending on how things go. But quality wise, maybe 5.5 to 6, because too many question marks about their ability. Apart from Kolomwani, so theek hai, it's fine. Kolomwani is like the more assured signing. But Costa, Vega, Kelly, they're like, uh, there's too many uncertainties about their actual ability. And there is a possibility that 1 month down the line, because Mota has made a player out of, players who we didn't think were gonna stay at Bologna for too long. So he made something out of nothing out of a lot of players at Bologna. So there is a chance that maybe 1 month down the line, 2 months down the line, the players jinka we're not sure about their quality, the other three, they might turn out to be decent players. They might turn out to be, good signings that somehow help Juve finish inside the top four, because we're not talking about the title. We're talking about the top four, and top four who are the other teams involved? Lazio, Fiorentina, um, or Milan
Milan.
or Max Roma. So we're talking about them, and to be honest, I'm not sure about at least two of those teams' ka profiles, and if they suit
Mm,
a lot of the positions. So
mm,
in that way, I feel like a lot of the players suit the Mota template. Quality again, I'm not sure. Could be like 1 month down the line, we're speaking about it. A lot of these signings in glowing terms, but I would rate it quality wise to 7.5 max, maybe even 8. Sorry, in terms of suitability, quality wise, why maybe 6, to be honest.
Fair, fair.
okay. I'll just be
I
back,
think,
Ajay. Bhai, you can.
yeah,
I would,
I think
I would,
these,
I
yeah,
think for me, guys, I think Costa made a very pertinent point, which is, also the issue. Of course, A is suitability to the system, but
Mm,
B is something that Juve has been lacking since the start of the season, which is leadership on the pitch. And the one leader that you actually had in the dressing room, which is Danilo, you let him go and not
yeah.
in the best way. That has had an impact in the dressing room. And then you've brought in players who are again they're young, which is great, but they are not leaders. So yeah, to Kostev's point, if they fit the system, great. But when the chips are down, you're going to need these guys to stand up. And I'm
Mm,
not sure that they have that edge in them to make themselves count as a figurehead. Who wants to go above and beyond the call of duty and fight till the end and push the team. I kind of saw glimpses of that in Vega, even though he's so young. So I feel like he has a potential to be a revelation. Remains to be seen how many more chances he gets in terms of continuity. I think he will be a starter now for a bit
mm,
because Kalu is out for a month. Uh, Kelly, I think will feature very slowly, and Costa I think will feature before Kelly does. Kolomuani I think is a certified starter, as far as Mota goes. So yes, I hope that like they come together. But because of the fact that we lost Danilo, heartbreaking to lose Fagioli, I would say this for me is a 5.5.
fair, fair. I'll take some comments before we let you go, DJ. Um, अनाद ने एक conspiracy theory बना के Gintoli is a double agent of ADL. Disasi has been a disaster for Chelsea. The few times I watched him.
Very error prone, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think this makes sense because getting Kolo Muani was a coup because a lot of clubs were hovering and Juve got the deal um, off the line. Um, Comparing Bournemouth to Virar is fine, but comparing Juve with Kolaba at present, it's more Mahim. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. 6.5 Reagan United would have taken Luis. Good short term fixage and definitely good money for UA because United would have overpaid.
Also, guys, that
Arsenal,
what is the hype around Luis? I mean, amazing that he's been the way he played in the Premier League last year, but he's just been like an absolute shitter at Juve. And there's one simple thing, right? Like for me, he's just like a glorified Arthur Melo. Like he can't make a pass straight. Like he can't make a sideways pass. He can't. He tries to make the fancy plays, and when the chips are down, you just see like he's walking on the pitch. What in the
hmm,
meritocracy of Thiago Motta does Luis deserve this continued opportunity and Fagioli didn't? I just for the
yeah.
life of me did not understand. Like that's the thing that creates the angst. I don't know. I don't agree with comments that kind of berate Giuntoli because I feel like under the circumstances, I feel like he's done a good job. Also, again, if Danso had passed the Medicaid, it would be Danso instead of Kelly, and that would look like a very, very decent window under the
yeah, but
circumstances with the
DJ,
limited funds.
that's what even I said in the chat that despite I know his heart issues were still prevalent
Mm,
last summer, and with Serie A, it becomes very difficult to clear those
yeah.
medicals
They
given how
won't allow you.
stringent it
No?
is.
Mm,
That's why he's in the Premier
Won't
League. I
allow.
mean, they don't have that
Yeah,
same stipulation. So
mm,
yeah, 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 yeah. Ankit is in the house. Ankit bhai, um, Felix wala to it was surprising. We'll get to Joao Felix and Milan sooner. And of course, he's a Chelsea fan, Ankit. So he has definitely seen the likes of Renato Vega, Disasi, Joao Felix all play for Chelsea. So this is Ankit's analysis. Vega is slow in transition but strong in the air, has a nice passing ability. Disaster would have suited Juve a bit more than Villa. But I think to just echo what Kaustubh said, Vega suits Mota more than Juve. Like he's a very Mota player. So if Mota can get the best out of him, nothing like it, man. Dog- Dogla Luis, we need to have a conversation. But DJ, your thoughts before you move, man. Your final thoughts on this Mercato overall. Very active, very surprising to see Serie A so active this January. What do you make of it?
Honestly, yeah, AJ, I think I kind of agree with the entire consensus. I think Milan on paper had the best Mercato. Now it comes down to how Conceição manages that dressing room. Because I've not liked the way he's been managing the dressing room since he got in. But you can see a slight shift in the mentality of the players. It's almost Conte-esque in the way that they fight till the end, which is good to see. I think though, that said, I think the big three, Inter had a very, it is what it is Mercato, which is not really going to affect their final flourish. Napoli, I think, are the ones that are going to be affected. But with Inter going in for the Champions League, I think that's where Napoli will have their chances, and that's where these couple of signings will just give the legs to Conte to kind of fight till the end. I think Atlanta again very consolidated. They have made very astute signings to kind of stay afloat in terms of where they are. I don't see them push for the Scudetto. Uh, to Kostap's point, Juventus, would I be in the fight for the top four? I think more, perhaps the place I don't agree is I do think Lazio have it in them. They may not have the experience to finish top four in terms of managing games and stuff. But I think this year there is something about them where temperamentally I can feel that shift. So I see them in the mix. I see Juve in the mix, and I see Milan. Fiorentina comes down to how fit their new signings are, Zaniolo and Fagioli. They will make an impact, but I don't think, perhaps they have the experience just yet to go the whole hog and fight for fourth.
Fair, DJ. Thanks so much, and Buonanotte. We'll see you soon.
Buonanotte, boys. Ciao tutti.
See
Catch
you
you
soon,
soon.
DJ. See you soon. Bye.
Fino alla fine.
Not but yeah, so Ajay, let's run through some of the some of the clubs very quickly and close with your club and Lazio and
And
some of that.
Milan as well.
And obviously,
Yeah, Milan is
again,
pending.
we'll come to the comments, guys. Don't worry. Again, thoda late ho gaya as you are all busy, and you can see they're all
Bologna, Bologna का
if you go to
बारे
that,
में यार.
Bologna, I'll just, again, we can alternate between one person each. If I'll just quickly wrap up Bologna if you guys don't mind. So if you show the ins, obviously it's Pedrola, Calabria, and the Raimondo and all. Raimondo to left anyways, and Balderson is also not in the team. But essentially they only had two incomings and outgoings. अगर आप देखो अजय भाई, Bologna
अरे
के
भाई,
basically that.
तू कलाब्रिया भूल रहा है तू.
I know, I'm not saying it is
Worth
good.
forgetting.
I'm not praising the signing, by the way. I'm just saying Calabria is an in. I'll just come to that. But if you show the outs very quickly, Posh, he was not a starter, but still I feel he's a good backup to have. Urbanski, I know, signed for Monza, and I feel game time so he might do well because I always felt he was an interesting talent. But yeah, apart from that, मैं Bologna Twitter पे भी discourse देखा. They still seem a bit unhappy because Bologna का आप थोड़ा इंटर की तरह बोल सकते हो, wherein the squad feels a bit set and you don't need to do too much. But in Bologna's case, you look at them and you say कि थोड़ा और कहीं ना कहीं तो fix करना चाहिए था, especially midfield backup options or defense backup options में आप बोल सकते हो. And that is where I feel they did not do a great job. Now Italiano अभी finally हमने, so everybody on the show knows I criticize Italiano a lot. We all do, but he's doing a good job. He beat Como the other day. Look where they are on the table. If you see the table, Yogesh, they're not that far off from Champions League places. So you have to actually now give credit. अभी उल्टा thinking हो गया है कि with sort of improper or sort of confusing recruitment. Kostub, तुझे याद है they missed out on so many targets in the summer. Matt Hummels चाहिए था, Hermoso चाहिए था, ठीक है, sure, Hermoso, not that he's doing anything special, but Hummels is at least still doing well again.
Logan Costa as well.
Logan Costa, I was coming to that. Logan Costa, ये सब targets miss हो गए. They signed Ehrlich, उसको निकाल दिया. By the way, Ehrlich they gave to Parma, so good riddance. So
Parma भी signed Erlich randomly.
Parma
So
तो
no
I think
plan
has
behind.
had the worst market in this whole 20 team, मतलब amongst the all teams. I think Parma has been the worst. We'll come to that later. But my point being, Sartori and co have not been able to do their job as much. Obviously, financial restrictions and whatnot. But still, Italiano, I feel, has mainly been the factor here. Strangely, feels strange, but market-wise, I would give this क्या दो यार 6.2 something like that, because again एक decent signing तो मुझे चाहिए था. Calabria, as you guys said, is not the answer. Now again, he could do well at Bologna. Look, I know Calabria is not good. We have seen him. कुछ technically खास player नहीं, ये है वो नहीं, कुछ नहीं. But I feel maybe a step down at times help. You never know. So
And change
maybe
of environment as well.
yeah, exactly. Just एक चीज बोलना चाहता हूँ, अगर अजय भाई आप ऊपर जाओ तो इनकमिंग्स में पेड्रोला बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग टैलेंट है. If I'm not wrong, he was obviously at the Barca academy. Pedrola. He went to Sampdoria. Sampdoria से आ रहे. Sampdoria में ज्यादा गेम टाइम मिला नहीं उसे. Sampdoria obviously chaos में थी. I think there is a lot of potential there. अगर बोलोनी अच्छे से हैंडल करिए. बेंजामिन डोमिंगेज आपने देखा अजय भाई. You saw him against Roma. Benjamin Dominguez play very well. Santiago
Very
Castro,
well.
yeah. So
Very
I
well.
feel वो level पहुंच सकता है. I'm not saying एकदम ज्यादा, but he could maybe at least do something this season if उसको बराबर manage किया जाए. That's so interesting market, but I just expected something, maybe at least that one signing which I could look at and say, you know, Kostov,
Yeah.
हाँ, अभी बोलोनिया का ज्यादा कन्विंसिंग लग रहा है मेरे को, जैसे मैं नापोली के लिए बोल रहा था. Not to make direct comparisons,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
so yeah, I'll just be back, guys. Sorry, but we can move to some other club. You all guys can rate Roma and all. We can save for the end.
Let's talk about Lazio, and let's talk about a very very interesting thing that happened with Lazio. Kostub, you can enlighten us a bit more. They signed. कहाँ गया वो बंदा? Who is the guy who was the this guy, right? Oliver
Oliver.
Prostgard.
हाँ.
जो हमारे चैट में और हमारे व्यूअर्स को पता कि what makes him so special.
So he's a, how do I say it? UEFA Champions League ka champion. He
Yeah.
won he's pretty much an esports ka king. Internationally, not just your country wala or Scandinavian area mein. He's an international esports king. Won the Champions League in 2021. Uska, they also leaked his esports ka name. So very interesting because they signed him very randomly. Matlab, he has a decent goal scoring record. And we know Lazio ka that center forward position has been a bit of a problem because Castellanos has been decent. He's still like inconsistent. हमने देखा है. Boulaidea does well, but he's obviously playing off him. He's not that अपना center forward. So he would probably make sure that Castellanos is more consistent because अभी जैसे बोला, he underperforms on his XG a lot, misses these chances. Movement and hold up is decent, but yeah, I think Lazio always have a story. No matter what happens, Lazio, you can count Lazio out from a footballing perspective, but not from a content perspective. That is peak Bianco Celesti.
That's true. That is true. By the way, they also signed a new falconer. By the way, a lady.
Important.
Very 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 important. Only in Lazio does this happen. But मैंने I just saw this comment from Anad. I मेरे को नहीं समझ आया. Lazio registered home.
Homeless.
Please expand. And सबसे पहले is Anad the Lazio है?
I was about to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, very
बता
weird
दे,
decision.
chat
But
में तो बता.
Toma Basic was linked with, I think, Salernitana, if I'm not wrong. Then him and Lom Chauna ended up staying. So Lazio do this a lot. Matlab, this is like, again, I guess, 3 mercatos ago. Some non-EU spot, they had some confusion. For end, they had to change everything. So I don't know what the plan is because Pellegrini, when the season started off, मैंने बोला था like Pellegrini is my boy. I really like Pellegrini and उसका profile. So he has the technical ability which like sets him apart. Was a proper Sari footballer as well. Sari was the one who got him. So it's very weird. Like I don't see the point because and at one on one level I get it. Nuno Tavares is doing really well. And Pellegrini obviously plays left back, but Pellegrini is more than just a left back. He's a completely different profile. You can even play him in midfield. So again, Anad is quite right. It makes no sense, especially because Thomas Bassett has not done anything in a Lazio jersey or wherever he's played ever since he came from Bordeaux. Even for Bordeaux, he was never standout player. Nahi tha. It was a very signing to just fill up the numbers, and he came in when Milinkovic Savic and Luis Alberto and all of them were there, and he could never break into the team even after they left. So makes no sense, and I don't even know if he fits the mold stylistically or not. So काफी weird, but again, why? As I always say, it's Lazio, so you expect weird things from them, stuff that doesn't make sense.
So, your rating on Lazio's January Mercato?
I feel like Reda Belhaina is a very Lazio signing.
वो तो
Very
एक साइनिंग तो करते ही हेलास से, वो तो मतलब इट्स अ स्टैंडर्ड
yes,
लाजियो हेलास thing.
manager से लेके every 3 players in the team are
Yeah.
former Verona players. But I would say I would give them a 6 or maybe a 6.5 because honestly, they have a core in place. A bit like Bologna, I feel. Bologna ka, the good thing is they have a core in place and jo additions karne hai, it has to be around those players. So they kept that core, although we expected them to. Belaina is a very interesting sign. I really like him. And rest of them are like, um, if it goes well, it just goes well, or they just end up like जैसा Pedro Neto के साथ हुआ था, who could never really the way it is now is completely different. He could never really make a mark, made some appearances off the bench, was just became a Pedro Jorge Mendes ka puppet in a lot of ways. That's why he actually got a decent career as well. But if it works out, it works out. I mean, they've fixed the right sort of areas in the squad. Uh, Beyond that, uh, I'm not too sure. Again, some question marks because Abramovich is an interesting signing, but a lot of people are not beyond the name. A lot of people are not really high on him, and I get that. So again, that is probably Lazio's plan because summer में उनका plan था कि we'll go low key, we'll sign younger players and then maybe increase their valuation and everything. So not too impressed, but nothing fancy about it. So I would just give them a
Fair.
6.
Yogesh,
I would also give Lazio a 6. I think खाली एक ही realistic signing की है वो भी हेलास वरोना से, and apart from that not seeing much activity from them here. And seeing them on the table like they are pushing for the Champions League places, so I expected them to do more, but I think with this I don't think so it's a Champions League worthy mercato that they have done.
fair enough. मेरा तो as usual, I'm going to give them a minus because for me it is minus. It's
नहीं,
Lazio.
I feel Belayan must signing है, मतलब I'm not saying he's like a ready talent, but I know a lot of clubs would have wanted Belayan
Yeah.
and good signing there. And वो जो esports वाला player है, there is an interesting story about him. So last year in Denmark they celebrate a football shirt day, and there is a video of him basically उसपे
Yeah,
usually अपना
wearing a
फेवरेट क्लब की जर्सी पहन के आते हैं,
yeah,
एंड
yeah.
ही वोर अ रेट्रो लाजियो किट. अजय भाई इज लाइक क्या ये कौन है ये बच्चा, इससे इसको बस
Uncultured.
yeah, but he wore a Lazio jersey and he came, so essentially pretty much confirmed he's a Laziale anyways. So
Yeah.
yeah, he
Lotito recruitment agendas.
हाँ, मतलब लोटीटो ने
Uh,
क्या खोज के निकाला होगा उसको कि यार लाजियो फैन ही नहीं ढूंढूंगा मैं.
I have a secret suspicion that even Udit Narayan is a Lazio fan.
अरे बाप रे,
should
ये
start
क्या हो गया?
wearing. He should start wearing retro Lazio kits for his concerts.
But we have Ankit bhai in the chat as well. I'm assuming you took a comment of his
नहीं नहीं मैंने
before.
स्टार करके रखा होगा अंकित का because we will wrap up the stream with Milan.
Definitely, Ankit bhai, if you're around, please do stay around. जो भी comments है, we are taking, guys. Don't worry. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll wrap this stream up very soon. कौन से clubs
Last
बचे?
two
Even
clubs
I'm
है.
losing track.
Roma,
I
Roma and
think
Milan.
Roma and Milan.
Wait, only Roma and Milan are left? Like we discussed just quickly, we discussed Inter, we discussed UA, we discussed Atalanta, Bologna, Lazio हो गया,
Torino?
Fiorentina हो गया, Torino भी हो गया, Napoli भी हो गया, Genoa बचा है very quickly, Genoa, Monza, Hellas, Lecce,
अच्छा तो बाकी का कर
Udinese.
लेते हैं. बाकी का
हाँ,
कर लेते हैं.
very
चलो
quickly,
let's.
we don't need to, because none of these clubs really had that strong a market.
Hmm.
So Monza, obviously, मतलब Monza ने तो Genoa, correct. Genoa,
Genoa से
again,
शुरू
I know Cuenca they signed from Milan, decent rated talent. Corne तो भी उनके level के लिए ठीक है, I would say. Sean Onana पे मस्त video launch किया. If you saw the unveiling video, What's My Name, obviously the song. But ठीक है, I mean, again, should help them survive, I would say. That's my assessment on it. I can't say
You
anything
know,
more.
the important part about Genoa is that they kept friend up. I
हाँ,
guess उनका
friend group.
main goal
Actually,
was that. Main goal
yeah.
was that. कि उसे रख लो. And they did that. And I guess new
Correct.
ownership helped as well.
ठीक है, I agree. Keeping friend group was top. Monza, I think Monza, किसी ने ये ट्वीट किया था ट्विटर पे कि Galliani is probably preparing for a sale of the club anyways, क्योंकि वो लोग पैसा डाल तो नहीं पाते क्लब में, ठीक है. And mainly they've taken favors from.
Monza
हाँ,
preparing for life in Serie C. Not even
yeah,
Serie B.
exactly.
Serie B से relegate हो जाएंगे
Exactly.
उन लोग.
Exactly. और उसके बाद नए ओनर्स जब आए तो आए, because for him it has been difficult to keep the club. मतलब, and most of their signings are favors from Inter or AC Milan.
Yeah.
अगर आप देखो Palacios,
Contacts.
Zeroli, हाँ,
Contacts.
contacts, Castrovilli on
No
free.
external research. इतना मेहनत नहीं करना.
ये मतलब जब अपना योगेश असाइनमेंट के लिए पैसे देते हो और करवाते हो ना, वो टाइप का हो गया, समझा. मतलब फेयर इनफ, दैट्स एन अप्रोच एज वेल. केविन मार्टिन्स, जो बाय द वे वो तो कब से था, बट ही इज ओबाफेमी मार्टिन्स का बेटा, इफ यू गाइस रिमेंबर
Yeah.
ओबाफेमी मार्टिन्स. कैस्पर उर्बान्स्की लोन पे, लेस्कोविच ठीक है, अच्छा टैलेंट है, सॉरी लेकोविच. बट अदर देन दैट आउटगोइंग्स देखो यार, अगर आप अजय वेरी क्विकली, some heavy Bondo on the last day, Daniel
ये
Maldini,
पूरा
Pablo
first
Mari.
team गया उनका. This is full first team.
खत्म.
Bondo, Maldini, Pablo Mari,
हाँ,
Milan Juric.
मिलान जूरिच बिग लॉस. पार्मा को एक,
Yeah.
मैं जो बार बार बोलता हूँ, पार्मा में एक्सपीरियंस किधर है, एक तो उठाया वो लोग ने. और इवन जेनोआ, डोंट नीड टू स्क्रॉल, दे सोल्ड वोग्लियाचो टू पार्मा. इवन
Yeah.
दैट इज अ वियर्ड वन. सो my point is, I don't know if it helps Monza to survive. Like, I really don't. I 5 नहीं, चलो 5.5 थोड़ा जेनरस. हेलास तो मैं देऊंगा सीधा 0 योगेश, बट कुछ तो फेयर रेटिंग देनी पड़ती है, राइट, अपनी दुनिया में. मतलब मैं इतना, अगेन, वैलेंटिनी इज द हाईलाइट, जो मेरे को फियोरेंटीना ने कभी समझे व्हाई दे बॉट हिम, सोल्ड हिम इन द सेम विंडो. अगेन, दिस इज वन ऑफ दोज मार्केट्स जो कॉस्टुब ने फेमसली बोला था कि दे ऑलवेज साइन दीज अननोन प्लेयर्स एंड देन समवन विल एक्सप्लोड रैंडमली. हमेशा का थीम है हेलास. कोई, आई नो दे हैव न्यू ओनर्स एंड एवरीथिंग, बट योगेश तू देखना, अभी 2 महीने में ना एक इसमें से एक प्लेयर ना कोई एक्सप्लोड करेगा. मैं ऐसे ना, मतलब
15 million valuation.
हाँ, अगर तू ना इनका है ना, इन सबका नाम ना डार्ट बोर्ड पे डाले और डार्ट फेंके, ऐसा टाइप का है लोका साइनिंग्स बेसिकली, समझा. इस पे लैंड होता है, उसको साइन करो और वो एक्सप्लोड हुआ तो हुआ.
It's not like कि they have to sell some. मतलब they have a couple of center backs who will probably fetch them 15 million plus. So it's not like कि it's an immediate need कि ये लोग just take off in 6 months. So they probably have a year or something. Gilardi or Coppola and all these players, Chachua as well. वो लोग like, they will probably leave in the summer. The peak Verona, वो that window where Rahmani, Ceccherini, all of them left एक ही same time के around. That shit happens, and then these players have that time to just settle in फिर से. So I don't say कि there is pressure on them to just take off.
Yeah, I agree. That is a
Lecce,
good way to look at it. Lecce, I have to give credit ki Dorgu, obviously biggest talking
Yeah,
point
oh
with Lecce
yes,
is Dorgu's departure. And they had already finished their signings before he officially left. I
yeah,
remember the game they played, Yogesh,
yeah,
वो छोड़ दिया था, but their replacements were ready on the bench and they won that game if I'm not wrong. Yeah, they won it. They won the game.
yeah,
So अगर एक क्विकली अगर आप लुइस हासा ऑब्वियसली तो वो तो अलग ही इसमें था, बट इफ यू गो टू द इनकमिंग्स वेरी क्विकली अजय भाई, जस्ट obviously I think Tiago Gabriel एक था and Danilo Vega, obviously ये दो थे जो basically essentially were your sort of to adjust the backline to replace Dorgu, and Elijah Scott is a very well rated talent they've
yeah.
signed from Stuttgart, so credit to them. मैं ज्यादा रेट नहीं करूंगा, अगेन January market में एकदम हाई रेट करना बराबर लगता नहीं है. I would say for their standard 6.5 if we can move on, because yeah, I think they'll survive. You can see them, they're finally
Yeah.
getting those important wins now.
yeah.
Udinese did not have much to do. Only big plus point I will give them is Omar Sole को free पे लेना, जो एक player
Yeah.
ठीक player है, पर free पे उठाना mid season
Yeah.
and bolster your backline is good. So again, I don't want to rate
Also-
their mercato per se. No.
Also, they didn't let go of Lorenzo Luca. So
Luka, good
And
point.
Christensen also stayed despite
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. And again, you look at them, वो लोग कभी भी गेम हारते हैं ना, they bounce back right away with a win or a good result, a good foil, well fought draw. So you really have to give them credit. Yeah, they're a decent side. मतलब Brunei, again, I'll give him credit where it's due. We'll move quickly, come to the comments and close this stream, guys. I want to get everyone's opinions on Roma. I think Roma इसके बाद कौन बचे इसके बाद?
Roma
इसके
will
नीचे
go.
कौन है? Cagliari have not done much. Caprile again, Florinel Coman have seen a bit on the international stage. Very surprised.
Florinel Coman used to be on my FM FCSB ka save, so I really like him. Obviously, FM ki wajah se, not because of what he is. I used to play him as a left wing back, Ruben Amorim. So he can play center forward as well, either wings. So it's not. I know वहाँ पे लिखा है कि he's a left winger. He can play in all the three.
Players. Outgoings में ना, I'm just a bit. DJ जाओगे अगर अजय भाई थोड़ा, if you keep scrolling, just a bit. Lapadula, obviously not that he was playing, but he signed for Spezia. So again, I think they've not. Again, there's not much to speak about them because most of the outgoings, these are the outgoings they wanted to do. It's planned. So I guess let's see if they survive is the question. Empoli, last day में उनको कुआ में मिल गया, ठीक है. Big plus point is Saba को रखा उन्होंने, Saba Gogli Chiche, obviously. Linked with AC Milan, Roma almost signed for Roma, Ajay bhai, but the move fell through. Juventus से भी linked है, but I guess he'll end up at AC Milan in the summer. Outgoings में Empoli का कौन था? Fazzini. Sorry, big plus point again. Saba के साथ they held on to Fazzini. बहुत लिंक था. He could have ended up at Lazio. Yogesh Jacopo Fazzini अच्छा talent है. Could have, but again they held on. So credit to them on that. But again the results are not there. They got thrashed by Juve. So let's see. Parma, I think so. My opinion is worst of all teams. Worst mark. Because अजय भाई जो टारगेट चाहिए थे नहीं मिले, ठीक है, एक दो प्लेयर मिल गए, बट अगेन यू सी द एज ऑफ द प्लेयर्स देव साइंड. मिलान जूरिच को छोड़ के everyone is a youngster. This is the problem with Parma. Parma is a classic example. अगर आप सिर्फ यंगस्टर्स भरोगे टीम में और वेटरन्स नहीं होते इनफ उस यंगस्टर को सपोर्ट करने को, worst market out of all 20 teams.
Plus,
in terms
I
of
guess
planning.
Same for your similar to Empoli, I guess even Verona is that they kept Dennis Mann, and even though Boni was being linked with Napoli themselves, I guess those rumors died down. So वो दोनों
पर Dennis Mann कर ही क्या रहा है, right? Currently, what is he doing?
Yeah.
What is he doing? Outgoings में भी again. They only have two leaders. मैं Parma Twitter पे discourse देख रहा था, योगेश, they're furious. Koulibaly guy,
Koulibaly left.
Yeah, exactly. So quite disappointing. I think I'll give this a 2 with all due respect because of the planning. 2 on 10. Horrible. Summer में याद है योगेश how much we raved about Parma, याद है stream पे मैं Kostub, and look at what it has become. They could Ajay bhai's dark prediction is they would get relegated, and they are in the relegation zone.
Yeah, they are currently in the relegation zone. And Hellas
मैं वेनेजिया के बारे में बात करूँ ही कि नहीं, क्योंकि they are about to sign, it looks like Ben Yedder.
Yeah.
If they sign Ben Yedder, they're a shameless club. Delete them from this league, send them to Serie D. Yogesh, I don't know if you know Ben Yedder ने क्या किया है off the pitch. You essentially get
Google
what
it.
I'm trying. 2 साल का उसको prison sentence मिला है for obviously you get what I mean, sexual harassment, and also I don't even want to talk about them. Like अगर if they actually sign Ben Yedder, because ऐसा लग रहा है वो लोग करेंगे. So भाई, I have no words. I don't want to. If anybody wants to say anything about this club, you go ahead.
It was that random moment where Jerome Boateng was signed by
So
Salernitana. उसी का याद आ रहा है मुझे.
Yeah.
that was evil. Like, not to compare tragedy to tragedy, but that signing was actually celebrated by their Twitter account. They had an
Yeah,
elaborate
yeah.
video. Ki, oh, we
This
signed
was-
Jerome Boateng.
this
That
also,
was
this is what
bullshit.
football has come to,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But I think last Roma ही बचा है ना, अब इसके बाद तो कोई नहीं बचा है, right? Roma पे we
भाई
can
मिलान
just
मिलान रोमा
Milan.
मिलान.
Milan and Roma, sorry. ये बराबर सोने वाला side story, but Saba, he wasn't starting because of his probable transfer, Yogesh, against Juve जो 4-1
Yeah.
जीता, and he made that mistake जिसके वजह से basically Roma को second thoughts आ गए. That was one
Yeah.
of the reasons. If you saw the game, and it's a side story यार, ऐसे मतलब
It is.
I don't think it's the only reason, but I'm sure it played a key role. रोमा पे आते फटाफट योगेश, मिलान एंड रोमा तू भी डिस्कस करना है हम लोग ऐसे, मतलब कुछ बोला नहीं, लोग बोलेंगे फिर से एकदम स्ट्राइक फेस लेके बैठ गया. बट yes, Roma have completed the signing of Edin Dzeko and Mohamed Salah again. मतलब Anas Salah
They are
Edin
back.
they're back. मतलब क्या नेम है यार, वो किसने मीम बनाया था योगेश, आई डोंट नो इफ यू सॉ इट, साला एडिन करके, तो एडिन जेको और साला जैसे ही हो गया ऑलमोस्ट. मतलब
Yeah.
दिस वाज फनी. बट अच्छा भाई, योर थॉट्स एज अ रोमानिस्टा, आई विल जस्ट बी बैक, बट यू गिव योर थॉट्स प्लीज.
Look, I think this is Gisolfi. Gisolfi ने जो समर में साइनिंग्स की है
Prime.
सारे ऑलमोस्ट निकल गए, राइट? कॉस्टोब, योगेश, रायन लेफ्ट, एंजो लफे लेफ्ट, सैमुअल डाल लेफ्ट, who else? Hermoso left.
Also that.
So this is basically a penance कि हाँ जो छोड़ के गए मतलब समर में साइन किया and they left in the span of 6 months. So I'm not very excited कि oh we've made a lot of signings. There is also a moment of self reflection हो यार कि यार अगर आपने समर में इतना बड़ा एरर किया, at least we've managed to do something in January. Whether it will work out or not, only time will say. But on the surface of it, I like amongst all the players, I like this boy Lucas Gornadot.
Yeah.
He looks fantastic. I do remember him playing against Roma in a Europa League game, Salzburg के against जब हमारा game था. I think Lucas Gorna and Manu Kone in midfield will be excellent. Otherwise, Victor Nelson, Scandinavian centre back, very Simon Kier vibes, bought in for depth, obviously. We would probably see him feature, like I would want him to play over Brian Cristante as centre back. So
Yeah.
I think that's quite a solid depth signing. Divine Wrench, first 2 games have been positive. I think we bought him for 5 million, which is a good steal in my opinion. Can play right centre back, can play right wing back. So it is Salamakers and Divine Wrench who are there or thereabouts in terms of the right wing back. Salah Eddin, the initial thing is that he's going to be a replacement of Samuel Dahl, but Samuel Dahl himself had a lot of potential. And मैंने ये also tweet किया है. I've tweeted this that Dahl from Benfica will move on to Bournemouth once
Yeah.
कौन है कर्क से ना जो उनका
Karke,
left
yeah.
back है. Karkes. Once he moves on to a bigger club, I think Samuel Dahl will go to Bournemouth
Yeah.
and everyone will be like, oh, what a baller. मतलब कहाँ से Bournemouth signing करते हैं ये सब. So just a depth signing. I'm not expecting anything great from Anas Salah Eddin despite the fantastic name. So overall, outs में अगर आप देखोगे तो Ryan गया and Golini आया, like for like replacement. Zalewski obviously went Inter, and then of course all the Gisolfi signing. So I'm going to give it a 6 on 10. I don't think so. यहाँ पे बहुत सारे नाम है जिससे Roma fans should get excited, barring one, which is Lucas Gordon. I think this is an exciting signing. Happened on deadline day. That pretty much spell the end of Brian Cristante at my football club. I think with Lucas Gordon coming in. So 6 on 10 Param is
Yeah,
what I give. I'm giving Roma. Not very optimistic. देखेंगे हम लोग. Not very pessimistic as Gisolfi did make a few moves towards the end of the day. So 6 on 10. Let's see how it goes.
क्या बोलते हैं योगेश? You want to say anything मतलब about Roma's
Yeah,
market
yeah.
because बोलना.
For Roma's market, I would give them a 7 out of 10. I think
Wow.
they did fairly well. They did a lot of signings. काफी incomings हुए, outgoings भी हुए. Like as Jay was mentioning that summer में जिसको भी sign किया सबको everyone was let go of. But I think so. Roma are doing quite good in the league as well. Yeah. So I think this is a very solid market and Champions League तो शायद नहीं बोलूँगा मैं, but in European conversation, European places में I think Roma can finish the season with
Interesting,
these signings.
interesting. Milan पे आते हैं मतलब let's close with AC Milan. I don't think Chintan bhai will be able to join us obviously, but let's close with AC Milan finally because obviously I think like Como they've been the talk of the town. Again, just to remind you, Como spent 96.7 million euros like across the
Wow.
two windows again. But yeah, AC Milan pe guys, just quickly running through the names: Santiago Jimenez, obviously the biggest talk of the town. Warren Bando, Joao Felix, जो भाई मुझसे तो I don't like the guy personally, but we can move on. नीचे जा सकते हैं. Uh, Ricardo Sottil, which was out of the blue, थोड़ा मतलब Kyle Walker, obviously. एंड अगर नीचे जाए तो ऑब्वियसली यार pretty much that was it right. मतलब आउटगोइंग्स में ऑब्वियसली बहुत थे, वो भी शॉकिंग थे. उधर मोराता बिगेस्ट आउटगोइंग टॉक, मतलब कहाँ से. ऑब्वियसली उसके बाद ओकाफोर भी था. बेनासेर मार्से गया. कलाब्रिया द कैप्टन, ही वाज जेरोली मोंजा पे लोन. बट गाइस लेट्स क्विकली डिस्कस दिस. कौस्तुभ तेरे से चालू करो, देन आई गो टू योगेश एंड देन मी एंड अजय विल क्लोज दिस विद द कमेंट्स. क्या बोलते हो यार मिलान के बारे में?
I feel like their sole intention going into the window was to correct what was done in the past.
एग्जैक्टली.
So, did they do that? I don't know. That is like, we'll see that as time goes on. But the signings on paper have been decent, but you can't undo the damage you did. Okay, matlab, I know sporting directors and the recruitment guys at clubs feel that, oh, we'll undo the damage. You know, brother, you can't change your league position overnight. You can sign players, but you can't. If you're, I don't know, seventh or eighth in the league, you sign players and all of a sudden you can't move to third. So it's not like you're correcting things. You're just putting up this facade that we have made these signings and now we're a better team. But at the same time, I feel like Milan ka, I always feel when teams sign a lot of players in a short period of time, especially mid-season, it's not good unless you're signing one player or two players. Yahan pe they've signed what, 5 players, or I don't know, maybe more. I didn't count. Deadline day pe they signed 4 players, and ye log, these are not your players who are squad players. These are your first team players. And on paper, as much as Bondo is a very decent signing, Jimenez is a good signing. Felix, I don't know, the cult, the Wow Felix cult really rates him. So there are 2 or 3 signings that are made for the first team, not Felix, the Bondo signing, Jimenez signing. But it's like they've come in a very short period, especially in the January transfer window. अगर ये signings समर में होती, I would have been much more impressed because firstly उनका league position wouldn't have been this worse wherever they are, or the players would have had a pre-season as well. So that is my thing with January signing, especially if you make a lot of them. यहाँ पे उन्होंने how many, 5? So that is a risk that comes along with itna sara business in January. But like the level of signings have been pretty decent. I know Sotil has never. Sotil is a sort of player who was better in his loan stint away from Fiorentina than he has ever been at Fiorentina, and he scored
Yeah.
against Fiorentina in that Amrabat error wala game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what it.
So it's a weird signing, but again, Sotil is purely there for your depth. And to be frank, with the Sotil signing, he's not your Not the most consistent player in terms of output, but one thing you can never question about Sotil is his work rate. So it's like,
Hmm.
in that sense, I see why Conceição would like him. But
Hmm.
again, वो regularly खेलेगा नहीं, so will not see him as often. Beyond that, a couple of signings are really good. Bondo, though they wanted him for a while. Jimenez
Very good
also
player. Very good
they were
player.
linked with. Yeah, it's like it. It's like he might, not even might. He'll probably be more useful than Benacer was. So they upgraded on that exit within a couple of hours. So
Hmm.
that's a really decent signing. Jimenez as well, because the last time I was on, I remember saying that both of their center forwards, Morata and Abraham, are link up center forwards. मतलब उनको बस link up करना आता है. And Jimenez is a goal scorer. He's not your link up wala. Haan, he links up play, but he's known for his goal scoring. But again, you are expected to just click, and that is the problem. Like otherwise, I would give them a 7, but
Hmm.
I don't know how they fit in. We don't really know, because as I said, there's a reason why a lot of managers don't like to sign players this quickly in January. So guys like
Hmm.
Bielsa, and Conceição का approval होगा. I mean, obviously Conceição का, I don't think the clubs run that way where to managers की सुनो. This was more about the ownership giving him players. And
Also cost to remember, even Conceição came in January in this.
exactly, exactly. And it's like Chukwueze is still there. They still wanted to move on a lot of players. Um, but I guess it's weird because the timing of those signings is weird. The quality is decent. So will they settle in or not? That is one interesting thing.
Hmm. That's actually an interesting way to look. योगेश तू क्या बोलता है एसी मिलान के साइनिंग्स के बारे में? Are you on the? Are you? Do you have the same level of excitement as a lot of people have? क्या बोलता है?
Yeah, definitely. Like Milan have done something good in the market, I believe, and they have rekindled some joy. Like I could see a lot of Milan fans getting excited with the signings that they have done. इतना क्लोजली तो मैं फॉलो करता नहीं हूँ मिलान ट्विटर एंड एवरीथिंग को बट फ्रॉम व्हाट आई हैव सीन इज मिलान फैंस आर largely quite happy with the work that is done, and now
Hmm.
it comes down to the games here, like how good, as Costa was saying, like how good these players gel in without in such a short span of time. It all comes down to that now. So all in all, like they have done a good activity on market.
Hmm. Or coach, anything else you think? Any one which signing you think will make the most difference out of all these?
It has to be Santiago Jimenez here. Like marquee signing किया हुआ है. They let go of Morata, and I think Milan थोड़ा goal scoring में struggle भी काफी कर रही थी. But with a big name signing that they have done in with Jimenez, I think they are really pushing for that. They don't want to miss out on Champions League for
Hmm.
real.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's the reason why
Hmm.
so many signings and the coach change was also done. So I think
Correct. Correct.
with this they should be able to do a good Champions League push.
Fair enough. अजय भाई आप क्या बोलते हो? We'll close with the comments. I'll give my thoughts and then
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
take comments and close. क्या
yeah.
बोलते हो आप?
I think just to sum up what Kostov and Param said, errors that were done in the past,
Exactly.
उसको amend करने की कोशिश की है, and Milan's current table position is not very great, so I think the management want to push
Yeah.
and get them into those Champions League places, which is why letting go of someone like Morata and getting Santi Jimenez made sense. Kyle Walker as well brings in an experience. Very very good signing for Milan. I think even he needed a new environment after playing so many years at City. So बस ये जाओ फिलिक्स का तो ठीक है, तुम तू ही बोल दे जाओ फिलिक्स का. I really like Warren Bondo, excellent prospect for the future. So overall I would give Milan's Mercato 8 on 10. I feel they're the real winners of the January Mercato, and I if Conceição can manage the players well and he doesn't have any more fallouts, then I think Milan can push for the Champions League places come end of the season. Ironic that Roma are playing Milan tomorrow. Wednesday ko. So in the Coppa Italia. So we will. It's interesting. My only thing is on Conceição. If the players fall out with Conceição, then this thing can go south very quickly. But on paper, it's a good mercato.
Fair enough, fair enough. I mean, first of all, आज रात को तो एक before I give my thoughts मैच है Atalanta Bologna अगर आप interested हो Coppa Italia 1:30 का obviously very late but yeah coming back to the point
GXR में.
yeah GXR पे I think Kostum said it right. It is fixing a lot of mistakes essentially. अब उसको मैं context में डाल के 8 दे सकता हूँ कि नहीं क्योंकि because it's fixing errors they made right and even then you have to see how it clicks. वो तो ठीक है we to that any for every signing it applies. I feel Jimenez is the star of every this mercato obviously मतलब for AC Milan क्योंकि they needed a proper 9 and obviously from the outside you say Jimenez is the proper 9 they've signed. मैं बार-बार as someone who's watched Jimenez a lot I can tell you जो मैं बार-बार शो पे बोलता रहा हूँ कि he needs proper surveys and to make sure they have Leao, they have Pulisic for that. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Bondo, bot time के लिए stagnate of sorts are not fully stagnant, but you get my point. He's not been able to break that barrier because he's been stuck at Monza, and I feel abhi finally वो हो जाएगा under Conceição. Sotil, I've never been the biggest fan. I know अगर अनाद फिर से chat में होगा अभी भी I know he loves Sotil for some reason. Tricky player है, homegrown कोटा में काम आता है and again bench के लिए decent option है I would say. Now whether again you have to as Kostum said Fiorentina छोड़ के अच्छा किया but this time he was actually doing fine for Fiorentina. He was doing okay. Kyle Walker, I have doubts. Kostum will obviously would have watched him a lot anyways. Premier League में not the same player and all that. I think Derby में ठीक खेला, so खेला because I think some of his good moments are overlooked. So not overlooked, but they basically because of that some of his bad moments were overlooked in a way. मतलब the thrice when he got cooked by Thuram. There's that one run when Thuram just beat him completely very easily. So my point being, I still like Kyle Walker signing us 50-50, but obviously he's an upgrade on Calabria in any case. So, yeah, I would. I don't know how I can 8 do तो ऐसा लगता है कि मतलब because at the end of the day, this is rectifying errors if any Milanista understands what we're trying to say, right? Because a lot of errors were made by AC Milan. And अभी उसको ठीक करने का attempt है. So I would give it a 7.5 with caution because मैंने 7.5 के
with caution.
वैसे भी किसी को दिया है नहीं. I think Como को सिर्फ दिया था या फिर Como को भी 7.5 दिया था. So again, even with Como, they also try to fix their errors more than anything. So I don't know for fixing errors if I can give 8 or anything more. But yeah, that's where I stand. I think overall, obviously, AC Milan fans should be very happy because Conceição को जो नहीं चाहिए था उसको निकाल दिया. Ajay, I think that is more of a highlight. Calabria, with all due respect, even if he was crying, Yogesh, if you saw that video, Calabria out, Morata out. Emerson Royal also
concert attenders.
हाँ जो भी concert जा रहे थे Emerson Royal also left if he didn't get injured. वो भी चला जाता.
Kamada.
Kamada
also attended the concert.
Exactly. So I feel yeah. I mean 7.5 I think is fair considering the context. I think obviously Milan fans have every right to be happy about it because a serious approach was taken. Again, I think that should be the highlight. कि एक serious approach लिया था, changes करने के लिए. So yeah, guys, I think comments लेते हैं अजय भाई फटाफट last के and then let's close this.
Let's close.
Screen share बंद कर देते हैं और let's take comments and close this. Guys, like, share and subscribe. I know बहुत late हो गया है, but again we got you this stream Calciomercato roundup. Sorry, where is sorry Ankit bhai says Felix खेलेगा कहाँ? Neither a right wing nor an 8. As he Leao and Rangers. Again, Ankit bhai, even I'm not the biggest Felix fan, so I completely understand what you're saying, especially more of the attitude thing. But again, I'm not saying he can't be useful.
I got a good stat to pull out. Yeah, say लोग share किया. Serie A में last January Serie A spent 130 million euro. This January it's up to almost 228.
Wow.
Almost.
अमीर हो रहे हैं हम लोग. Yes.
अमीर हो रहे हैं हम लोग.
Hashtag we are so rich. If you guys remember the Milan fans.
Yeah, but Regan Marquisio was a serious professional. I can't say that about Douglas Luiz with all due respect. Even as a rival, I would say Marquisio में वो professionalism दिखता था हर चीज में. I can't say that about Douglas Luiz with all due respect. अलीशा लेमन के जोक्स पुराने हो गए भाई. धोगला लुइस इज अ फनी नेम. मैं वही बोला था एक बार जब तू बोला था, दैट्स एक्चुअली अ funny name. Yeah, exactly, Sachin. Had Royal not gotten injured, Calabria would have probably
Yeah.
stayed. And Sottil फिर आता नहीं. Look, domino effect कैसे होता है देख योगेश. Sottil को मोस्टली होम ग्रोन के लिए लाया, वो आता नहीं. अगर कलाब्रिया इंजर नहीं होता, कलाब्रिया रह जाता, एमरसन रॉयल चला जाता. It's insane. Yeah. Exactly, fair point. Benacer भी चला गया. Chintan Bhai was very sad with the Benacer departure because he loves Benacer.
I
Yeah.
think we all were, yeah, because Benacer at that
Yeah.
point, that
Yeah.
1 year, which year
Prime.
was it, Kaustubh?
Prime.
I agree. Akash, injuries, attitude, not being able to click that form. I think he should have had more patience at Galatasaray and stayed there. वो जब Galatasaray गया ना, उसको निकलने की जल्दी थी. जैसे ही
Yeah.
पहुंचा उसको निकलना था, because he was confident योगेश he would do well. और ये परसेप्शन है कि टर्की में नहीं रहना है ज्यादा ये वो, but players like Zaniolo do not have that luxury with all due respect. So yeah. वो क्रिस्टांटे न्यूज बहुत फनी था. I really wanted it to happen, योगेश. भाई चिंतन भाल के भाई के पूरे बाल सफेद हो जाते हैं. पक्का पक्का बोलता हूँ तुझे.
यार गलत सारे में कौन कौन स्ट्राइकर्स है अभी?
Icardi, who's out with ACL.
ACL है.
Osimhen, Morata,
Morata.
Mertens is still there. Cult heroes में और कौन है उधर? Am I missing something?
Torreira? Obviously, another midfield. No? Torreira is still there, no?
Torreira is still there, correct. But yeah, Galatasaray.
Muslera भी
योगेश?
रहेगा.
Decent team.
Muslera.
Muslera is always there. Muslera is always at Galatasaray. There is no.
Yeah.
Let me just go quickly because you asked.
Government jaw उसकी.
Davinson Sanchez है.
Oh yes.
Spurs का.
the goat.
Dries Mertens, Demir by Roland Shalai भी है. I completely forgot.
Oh.
Icardi, Osimhen, yeah. सब बड़े नाम भरे उस टीम में.
Yeah.
Lazio, Hellas are right clubs. I understand what you mean. Yeah. रवि को तो बहुत पसंद है. रवि should become a Hellas Verona fan. Disrespect
Lazio
नहीं है. Loud Lotito. अरे भाई ये memes बंद नहीं हो रहे. ADL has been a disgrace. Yogesh, he should sell the club and focus on bringing Bari up. ये एक्चुअली मैं भी अग्री करता हूँ. हटाओ यार नापोली को, बारी को ही ऊपर लाओ. क्या बोलता है योगेश?
स्कूडेटो जीत जाते फिर बोलता.
वाह देखते हैं. But finally, Anand, we recorded the Bari video. It will be out soon. Ajay bhai, I think, has given it for editing, so वो जल्दी आ जाएगा तब we can start our FM save. So that is there, and everyone will be a part of that FM save. Kaustubh, be ready for that. Yogesh, you also. Arsenal wanted. Yeah, I saw that news by the Arsenal wanted Morata. Arsenal wanted Morata.
बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग होता था अगर वो मोराटा.
Yeah, Morata and Havertz. भाई. But yeah, I think guys,
Morata CV, that would have been amazing.
Insane CV. ऐसा CV अगर आपको अपनी जॉब में चाहिए उसको ही फोन करो. But guys, भाई लास्ट कमेंट से तो फटाफट बता दो. Any closing thoughts from the panel? We'll close the stream. Anyone who wants to say something?
Yeah, not really happy with the mercato which Napoli did. Let's see, it's now all down to Conte. ये स्कूडेटो जीतेंगे तो Conte को ट्रॉफी देना पड़ेगा. Conte will be the player of the season, coach of the season, striker, midfielder, goalkeeper, everything will be Conte.
अरे भाई.
तेरे
को ऐसा कोई पूछता है कि ब्रेकफास्ट में क्या चाहिए नापोली, लंच में क्या चाहिए नापोली, डिनर में क्या चाहिए नापोली, मतलब यही तेरा हर सवाल का जवाब नापोली.
By the way, Fabrizio Romano ऐसा फ्रॉड है ना. मैं एक चीज बोल देता हूँ. If you know his story, he's not a Napoli fan. He never was. He was born in Naples. But when he was posting news about the Saint Maximin deal, right, it tells you how much he's into this Premier League sort of zone, because उसको पता है उसके इंटरैक्शंस उधर से ज्यादा आते हैं ना. उसने नापोली का बराबर लोगो भी यूज नहीं किया. योगेश, if you notice, in his posts he was using the old blue logo to more than once, and I'm like, भाई नापोली का लोगो चेंज हो गया है, सफेद है अभी, अलग है. And this guy is so obsessed with his Premier League tweets with all, matlab, this is not us bashing, but he's so obsessed, Ajay bhai, with his interactions. He did not take a minute to check he's posting an old ass Napoli logo, जिसका जमाना गया हो गया, 1 साल हो गया होने को आ गया अभी. it's just baffling. The guy is just मेरे को तो पसंद नहीं है,
अरे
but
डेडलाइन
yeah,
डे पे लास्ट 2 दिन पहले से ही वाज बिजी हेल्पिंग फैंस ट्रॉल टॉटनहम हॉटस्पर, तो वो उसमें इतना बिजी था कि वो नापोली का वो लोगो गलत निकाल के बैठ गया।
it's
वो
just
ही वाज लिटरली थ्राइविंग ऑफ टॉटनहम ट्रोलिंग कि इसने रिजेक्ट कर दिया,
yeah.
उसने रिजेक्ट कर दिया।
Yeah,
ही वाज
yeah,
टू
yeah.
बिजी।
वो तो अलग है भाई। आप अपना एक तो अब अगर इंसान लाइक यू जस्ट होप योर क्लब डज नॉट हैव टू फेस सो मेनी रिजेक्शंस। योगी टॉटनहम का अगर तो देखा होगा, लेफ्ट राइट सेंटर रिजेक्टेड बाय प्लेयर्स, इवन टोमोरी रिजेक्टेड देम एंड ड्रॉप्ड अ गुड परफॉर्मेंस अगेंस्ट इंटर। मतलब
लेवल्स
रिजेक्शन टॉटनहम को। भाई मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ, अगर मुझे ऐसा तो अगर ये मंत्र लग रहा है मुझे, अगर चैंपियंस लीग इंटर को जितवाना है तो मतलब भाई यू शुड हैव इंक्वायर्ड अबाउट 2-3 ऑफ आवर प्लेयर्स, दे शुड हैव रिजेक्टेड एंड वी कुड हैव सीन अ न्यू लेवल ऑफ दिस प्लेयर्स। भाई यही करवा दो भाई। ऐसे ही चाहिए मेरे को। बट ऑल जोक्स असाइड गाइस, थैंक यू गाइस फॉर ट्यूनिंग इन। आई नो
What are
थोड़ा
the
स्ट्रीम मैच।
what are the
हाँ
just before end random transfers across Europe in January that has caught your eye? Like any 1-2 random transfers. I know
रैंडम
Kostov will probably say Rashford to Villa.
एस्टन विला। रैंडम क्या योगेश
honestly
तेरे
I
को तेरे
can't
पास कोई नहीं?
think of too many. One was
यार मोराटा का
Bellina
ट्रांसफर
himself.
was out of the blue.
Morata.
Kvaratskhelia भी I would say it was out of the blue.
Fair enough। हाँ इन अ वे it does count because जनवरी में हुआ इसलिए। क्या था रे रैंडम? अच्छा
By the
आपके
way,
लिए
Willian has re-signed for Fulham.
या
Fulham are replacing Willian with Willian, 35-year-old with 36-year-old.
I saw that. I saw that. This is strange one because मुझे रैंडम ऐसा कोई आ नहीं रहा है दिमाग में अभी। बट
Rio
नहीं यार
Asu
विलियम।
the Ajax keeper.
हाँ I mean yeah, fair enough. But again, like I was looking for a really, I think the Henderson saga was very funny.
Henderson, yeah, it was quite funny.
That video.
Yeah, video. I think that was hilarious. But apart
I
from
still
that,
think Mike Vermaet was actually right. Henderson was the one who was lying.
yeah. I also feel that Mati Stell saga was strange because वो उसका क्या उसके दिमाग में चल रहा था
I
उसने
have a
टॉटनहम
theory.
को।
I have a
बोल
theory,
बोल।
tell me. So, Spurs and Bayern have a very good relationship.
Yeah.
Kane saga की वजह से, and they got
Yeah.
those friendlies as well, friendlies का पैसा.
Yeah.
So I feel what happened is Spurs, since they have good relations, approached Bayern saying that we want this player who's obviously up for sale, and they had this private agreement with Bayern because उनके relations अच्छे हैं. So they leaked out the 60 million price tag, saying कि I feel Spurs were never actually offering 60 million. It was a private agreement which was leaked deliberately so that other clubs come calling. And Tell actually was happy to move to Spurs. Levy was probably informed by Bayern saying that if no one meets the 60 million price tag, which United, Arsenal, no one else was meeting, that is when the deal was back on the table. उन्हें लगा कि we're not getting anything for that fee, so might as well loan him out, and it's an expensive loan. Like कितना 6 or 7 million loan fee for half a season. That is. So that is what I think happened. It's all about those networks because both are very close clubs at this point. Eric Dyer wala move as well. So I think that's what happened. Like we can have theories. So this is what I think happened.
Yeah, I know Rio is a top talent, definitely. By the way, in all this, just want to close with one thing. Something very interesting has happened, guys. Yogesh, Como have announced a new stadium project. इधर हम ही पीछे पड़ रहे हैं अभी। Como ने भी stadium बनाना चालू कर plans कर दिया at least. ये देख लो फटाफट before I close this. I'm actually happy in the direction they're headed. You know, Ajay, because हमने कितना discuss किया about the bankruptcies and all. एंड द ट्रेनिंग ग्राउंड नहीं होता था एंड दीज आर द प्रपोज, ये प्रपोज डिजाइन है गाइस। ये अगर आप देख रहे हो रूफ वूफ के साथ, ऑब्वियसली वही लोकेशन, दीज आर प्रपोज्ड इमेजेस, बट डेफिनेटली लुक्स ऑब्वियसली कैपेसिटी वाइज शायद it looks a bit too clean and all वजह में, but I feel these kind of things now have to happen. It's a thing with modern football. मतलब वो थोड़ा ये वो, so I'm just Populous इसलिए डिजाइन भी वैसा है जो मिलान और इंटर के लिए स्टेडियम है, वही कंपनी है Populous. So yeah, if Como actually get it done, you know, happy for them. I think मुझे लग रहा है ना, अगर ये लोग ऐसी सीरियसली करें ना प्रोजेक्ट, तो आई हैव अ फीलिंग दे कुड बिकम अ टॉप हाफ टीम, जैसे whoever called it a while ago. So yeah. So guys, anyone who wants to finally say anything on the panel,
That's
closing
it, boys.
thoughts?
I think let's wrap up tonight. काफी
Yep.
late हो गए. हम
Yeah,
लोग
yeah.
Friday
Again,
Friday we will do our regular stream building up to
yeah. Late तो हो
game
गया.
week 24. There are some midweek games. I think Interplay Fiorentina जो
हाँ, वो
uh,
रिकवरी गेम आज कोपा
against
इटालिया है JXR पे. एनर्जी है तो देखो. एटालांटा बोलोनिया है कल.
फियोरेंटिना के साथ में डबल हेडर है इंटर का, राइट?
हाँ, एक वो
Hmm.
रिकवरी गेम है जिसमें जो उस टाइम प्लेयर्स अवेलेबल थे वही खेल सकते हैं. मतलब
वही खेल
डम्फ्रीज
सकते हैं.
इज सस्पेंडेड बट ही वोंट मिस दिस गेम बिकॉज इट वाज बैक देन. समझा योगेश? पर फियोरेंटिना और इंटर के न्यू साइनिंग्स नहीं खेल पाएंगे. ज़ालेव्स्की वोंट बी एबल टू प्ले. Zaniolo, Fagioli, all these guys won't be able to play for Fiorentina. और इंटर फ्योरेंटिना जो नॉर्मल गेम है रिकवरी के बाद उसमें ये सब अप्लाई होगा. सो रूल्स. सो या गाइस, थैंक यू फॉर ट्यूनिंग
इट
इन.
वोंट लाइक फुल 90 मिनट्स खेलेंगे, राइट?
नहीं 70 मिनट्स नाउ. वेदर यू वही एक वियर्ड चीज है कि लोग बोल रहे हैं कि तुम फुल गेम क्यों नहीं खेल रहे हो. 70 मिनट्स खेलो. 0-0 स्कोर. Before actually the match was stopped, Inter had actually scored a goal, but the contentious thing was कि बॉल बाहर गया था नहीं की नहीं लाइन के, and I think it had gone out, इसलिए गोल कैंसिल किया था. But yeah guys, Yogesh, everyone, thank you guys for joining in. बहुत लेट हो गया. Please like, share and subscribe the stream, and we'll see you guys very soon. Ciao ciao.